It's time for MacBreak Leafy. Yes, Leafy. You'll see why in a moment. Andy Anako is in the great outdoors. Stephen Robles, the bearded tutor, filling in for Jason Snell. Alex Lindsay is also here. We will talk about the hot new Apple TV show and how it appears to have brought Apple TV to its knees. The new Apple socks are here, if you've got a couple of $100. And Apple has decided to use Google for Siri. All that and more coming up next on MacBreak Weekly.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is MacBreak Leafy, episode 998, recorded Tuesday, November 11th, 2025. Touching grass. It's time for MacBreak Weekly, the show we cover the latest news from Apple. Jason Snell, as we know, was on vacation today, but hey, we got the bearded tutor instead. Stephen Robles, welcome. Good to see you as always.
Good to be here, Leo. Thanks for having me.
It's nice to have you. Always like having you on. Also, Alex Lindsay is with us. Hello, Alex, from officehours.global.
Hello.
Andy is working on his connectivity, but he may join us in a little bit. Stephen was saying it is Veterans Day, so thank you to all our veterans for your contribution, for your service to our country. We appreciate it. Are you a veteran? I don't know, Stephen. Are you?
No, I'm not. I just saw the Apple Immersive thing pop up, and
that counts.
Reminded me.
That puts you right in the. It's an aircraft carrier, right?
Yeah, it's called Flight Ready, and it's an immersive video. Interestingly, not by the same studio that the Apple's other immersive content is through. So it might be a different maker, but it's a 14-minute, short film. It's on the USS Nimitz. So yeah, I'm gonna go
very cool.
Wrap in later and check it out. Yeah,
very cool. Yeah. This is not our Vision Pro segment. I know we are America's premier Vision Pro podcast, mostly because of a dearth of others, but.
I should have grabbed mine. I have mine in the other room.
Yeah. No, it's all right. Alex has one too. You don't have to wear it on the show.
That's fair. It's fair.
It's actually, this is if Jason were here, it would be the first time everybody had one. Oh, I still don't have one. That's right. Although I have pledged, if Apple does Vision Pro for Formula One next season, I have pledged I will buy a Vision Pro or maybe borrow one from one of you guys.
And that's probably why Apple is doing F1.
I would think
one of the many reasons.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see that, you've already talked about how it could make you a little queasy to be trying to watch race video on a Vision Pro.
Well, I think that it depends on where you put it. I think putting it right on the car may be rough, but that's also technically very difficult. Even if you look at the little bit that they did with the F1, the movie, that was they spent a lot of, it appeared that they spent a lot of engineering time, and it was still a pretty rough experience. So,
yeah.
So I don't think that, I think that there's still a long way to go to attach it to the cars, but there's still a lot of other experience.
There's other stuff. Yeah.
Like imagine being able to live go to every pit. Like you see one going in and you're watching and you jump into that pit.
I'd love that.
And get to see the guys running out there. And it's like you're just standing there looking at it. And that's the kind of thing I think that'll be interesting.
Everybody
Did either of you see the MotoGP one, the immersive MotoGP video in Apple Vision Pro?
It
was a short documentary film. It was very good. It was a French racer. It was the first time MotoGP.
Yeah, we talked about it, and I think Snell saw it probably.
Yeah, I think he saw it.
It was good. They had several places around the track where it would jump to immersive, and you would be with the crowd. You'd see him in his trailer. So yeah, I think they could do it.
I remember seeing little bits and pieces of it. I have to admit, it's not my cup of tea. Like that.
You're not a race fan?
I'm not really a car person. Like I'm one of those people that like if my car isn't working, I just go, I'm going to take this to the shop and they're going to do things to it and then I'm going to drive it away. But I literally don't know anything about it because the problem with me is that I get so obsessive and so deep into things that I'm afraid if I peeled open the seal of cars. Like it would just like there's a whole nother world of things I don't have time to do that would become like I'd be working on my car and souping it up, and it's what I do to everything else. I mean, I can't even cook bread like a normal person. So I'm just afraid of letting the car seal open. That's the thing.
Don't unseal the car, baby. Yeah, I know how you feel because F1 is a commitment. It really is. There's a lot of races and it's a long time, and if you really get into it, then you start watching the practices of which there are two, and then you watch the qualies of which there is one, and then you watch the race. And sometimes there's even a sprint race, and pretty soon your whole weekend is shot.
I mean, even with football, like I used to just be very good at watching the Steelers, and then I was like, now that YouTube TV made it so easy to watch games, I'm watching the middle of some game that I don't care about either one of these teams. Like, why am I watching this? And then I turn it off. But
we're a little salty right now about YouTube TV. Don't mention that around the Laporte household, because their carriage dispute with Disney is still ongoing, and we've now missed 2 Monday Night Footballs. Well, we didn't miss it because Disney got its way. We ended up subscribing to ESPN for $30 a month just for Monday night, but it was the Packers, and our son is a Packer fan, and we had to, and maybe that was what Disney was hoping for.
I will say I signed my mom up for YouTube Live TV the Thursday night before ABC left, strictly because she'd been using an over-the-air antenna for years, and I wanted to obfuscate the need for that. And then the next day she lost ABC, and so I'm hoping it comes back.
Well, the next important date in this, and I know this isn't an Apple story, but it kind of is if you watch YouTube TV. The next important date is Disney's analyst call for its quarterly results, which is just a week or so away, in which they will have to explain how they are managing losing tens of millions of dollars a day by not being on YouTube TV. And
I have to admit, I haven't spent much time paying attention to what the argument's about, because I don't watch anything that I watch so little. YouTube TV is football, and then a handful of things that are recorded.
Well, and this is football, though. I mean, it's not just Disney Plus. It's ESPN, it's ABC, it's a whole bunch of stuff.
Again, nothing I watch normally. So it hasn't really affected me that much, but I don't know what the.
Do you have Sunday Ticket?
Is. I do have Sunday Ticket.
Yeah. So you are a football fan. Well, you want to see the Steelers. If the Steelers were on Monday Night Football, you would start caring the next time they're on, because you wouldn't be able to see it, because that is on ESPN.
And the Steelers have lost every game that I haven't watched. I know. As a Steelers fan, I feel like I've let the team down.
Aaron Rodgers looked so awful. Oh my God! On Sunday, it was very sad. It was very sad. Anyway, I won't hurt you with that. Here's what's going on, as far as I can tell. And Puck has very good coverage of this, and I think they have people on the inside. Disney, which is not a big, people think Disney is a big company, but its market cap is in the billions. Let me just see.
Many billions. I think hundreds of billions. It's not.
Okay, but billions is not trillions. And remember, they're fighting with something, Google, whose market cap is $3.5 trillion.
Right. I think Disney is hundreds of millions, like 200
it's million. It's $205 billion.
Yeah.
According to Puck. Disney, which, as we figured out, is a $205 billion company, is in a fight with Google, which is a $3.5 trillion company. So right there, it looks like there may be equals. No. Google, apparently, YouTube TV wants to pay less than market for all the Disney stuff, $10 per subscriber. ESPN alone with cable gets, it was my understanding, around $13 or $14 per subscriber per month. So, and apparently cable companies have most favored partner deals that say, if you pay less to anybody else, we get that deal. So Google, if Disney exceeds to Google's demands, Disney would lose money, not just with Google, but with all of its most favored partners. So it would be a big hit. On the other hand, it's an even bigger hit because they're not getting anything right now, which is estimated to be about $30 million a day. So Disney says, no, you got to give us the full amount of money. Google says, we don't have to, we're Google. And meanwhile, for 3 weeks, YouTube TV customers have not been getting any of the ABC content. Now, the question is
really $30 million a day, though, because Google TV, I don't think is that big. I don't think it's big enough to pay.
Well, that's the real question: is Google TV the future of TV?
Well, it is for me. I mean, I can't imagine going back to like any other format to watch TV. And I don't watch TV that much, and I haven't had regular cable since.
Well, that's the question.
1994.
Would people drop?
So I don't know.
Would people drop YouTube TV and go back to cable? I don't think so.
They might drop it and to say that they're going. There's been reports that lots of people are dropping YouTube, but I'm like, and go where? Where are you going to go if you go back to like cable? Is such a
precisely
messed up. like you don't have to be. And we've talked about this before. If you're in the woods and a bear starts chasing you, you don't have to be faster than the bear. You just have to be faster than the other guy. And I think that Google is not faster than the bear in the sense that they're a perfect solution. It's YouTube TV, but they're so much faster than everybody else.
Ironically, the real competition to YouTube TV is YouTube.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that in general, the problem that all of these broadcasters have, and we've talked about this before, but is that they're getting squeezed between, you have, Apple and Amazon who are, they kind of have a Kaiser Soze model. They always make more money than the job's worth. So it doesn't really matter to them whether they can keep on doing content forever. Then you have Netflix that just has scale, right? That Netflix it's big enough. It's going to be fine. And then so those are the big ones. And Apple is distorting the entire market by overpaying for all of its content. I don't mean overpaying, but just not getting a bunch of content, but throwing enormous amounts of resources at the content that they do build. And the problem with that is that everybody in Hollywood, especially below the line, want to work for Apple. And I know people that are on these Apple shows. That's all you want to do is work for Apple because it's adults running the show. There's no producers yelling at you. There's no, it just runs, right? And you get a lot of creative, if you're a director or a writer, you get tons of creative freedom and tons of money, up front to do your vision, right? And so Apple's distorting the market because they're just throwing money at things. On the other side, YouTube is filling the world, not with people building houses in Malibu, but $250,000 a year incomes in Nebraska. And there's an entire ecosystem building up around that with the new cameras and drones and stabilizers and everything else. And it just really, I don't know how we're going to see some huge consolidation. I think Disney is probably at the top of that, not having to consolidate. But almost everybody else, I think, is all going to kind of fold into each other because there's just not enough people, not enough subscribers. And as everyone keeps on turning these subscriber costs up, people like me, I've already dropped most of my other stuff. I dropped
look
Disney
who's
a long
losing
time ago.
In this Disney YouTube TV. By the way, I will correct it. Morgan Stanley says Disney's losing $30 million a week.
Yeah, that's
not a
more
day.
reasonable.
Yeah,
like a day
$30
was
million
a
week.
Wow,
But still, $30 million a week is a lot of money. So that's the pressure on Disney. The pressure on YouTube TV is that people might give up YouTube TV if you're lucky enough to live somewhere where you can get over the air Monday Night Football. You're fine, but
I just don't know what they would go to. They would go to something else
over the air, I guess.
You go to Hulu Live TV. I mean,
well, that's what complicates this because Disney has a lot of channels, including Fubo and Hulu does have live TV, and Hulu does have Monday Night Football. I'm not switching YouTube TV for Hulu Live TV ever.
But you can see how they might add it. They might go, oh, well, I'm just going to get Hulu.
People might say, well, what we ended up doing is buying ESPN is what we ended up doing, which does benefit, $30 a month benefits Disney. So it's, the whole thing is a complicated rigmarole.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's not about Apple, but I thought I'd mention that. We will talk about Apple TV towards the end of the show. Have you watched Pluribus?
Haven't seen it.
I saw both the first 2 episodes.
Me too. I had to. I thought, we're going to talk about it Tuesday. I better watch it.
I had it on my list. I tried to watch it last night, but we were in something else.
Okay, don't say anything yet.
Good. Yeah, I won't say anything. It's real good, though.
It's real good. We'll talk about it in a little bit. You're watching MacBreak Weekly. Andy is going to try to join us. He's having a little bit of trouble with his internet connectivity. Let's see. What should we talk about?
Socks.
Stocks?
Socks. The new iPhone sock.
No, they don't have iPhone socks, do they?
But you didn't see that today? So latest announcement. It's an Apple.
It's a sling. It's not a sock. It's a sling.
That's like a sock.
It's called the iPhone Pocket. It's a new way to wear and carry your iPhone. And it's either $150 or $230.
What?
And it's an iPhone sock. Yeah.
Oh, that's ridiculous. No, so they I think they're doing well with their crossbody strap, right? So maybe that emboldened them. Right. This is designed by Yoshiyuki Miyame.
So yeah, Miyake, and they were supposedly the ones who designed Steve Jobs' turtleneck. And so that's the connection between the design studio for the iPhone sock and Apple. a lot of people are saying this is
that is hideous. I am not carrying. It looks like a macrame purse.
I'm sorry.
This is not for the U.S. market. People are saying it's literally only being sold in one U.S. store, the Apple Soho one in New York. It's being sold in more international stores. Plus, you could buy it online.
Apple says it explores the concept of the joy of wearing iPhone in your own way, in your own underwear. What the hell? That is the ugliest thing I've ever seen.
I was hoping for a new HomePod Mini, but we got an iPhone sock instead.
What the hell?
It's supposedly going to be big in other markets. It's not for the US, I guess. But yeah, iPhone sock.
Jobs apparently, besides getting him Miyake design his turtleneck, approached him to create an Apple vest. But the idea when he presented it, this is from Fortune, when he presented it to staff, hey, we're going to get company vests, was booed off the stage. I don't think that's probably true, but they didn't do it. Nevertheless, he told Walter Isaacson that he had he said to make 100 black turtlenecks so he would never have to worry about buying a black turtleneck ever again. Must be nice. Anyway, this is a bad idea.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm going to get one. I'm going to get one to review.
Are you? Yeah, it's good for clicks. It's good for clicks.
Yeah, that's the only reason. But yeah, it's fascinating. So
yeah, if that's Andy, I'm not happy. What the hell, Andy?
Sorry.
Are you out in the? Where are you?
Yeah, my home because are
you in the backyard?
Holiday. Yeah, because there's a federal holiday on Tuesday, which means I can't get access to the really, really good internet at the conference rooms that I usually do in. And today was the day that my home internet decided, hey, let's stop working about 20 minutes before showtime. So
you know what? You sound great.
Good.
The picture's phenomenal. We're getting fall in New England.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. I mean, it's going to be suboptimal because this is fortunately where in the nature trails where I am, there are like Wi-Fi hotspots here and there. And so I thought, look, worst that happens, this is like
let me get this right.
You're fall special.
Because it's Veterans Day, you are out in a park using a hotspot Wi-Fi provided by whom?
Actually by the town.
By the town.
We have lots of nice trails and like there are occasional places. This is like sort of if this were a summer's day, there would be lots of people at around like all these benches and exercising their dogs and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the thing is like because the internet at the conference room is so freaking good, like 1 gigabit up and down, which I cannot afford, like even in the best of circumstances at home. It's like, you know what? Why don't I just, I feel like I'm wasting money on like the big professional internet that I used to have just to do MacBreak at its best. And why don't I just get the cheap version of it? You could do the show
from here from now on, frankly.
I'm glad to hear that. Thank you very much. I was concerned that it was going to be like...
I was too. I said, "Oh, don't worry about it, Andy. You can just enjoy the day off." But look at you. Yeah. We're getting a little you're touching grass, Andy.
Literally.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, it's good.
He's touching it. He's bending over.
Those of you who are interested in like leaf peeping in New England, this is what you're missing out on.
MacBreak Leafy. MacBreak Leafy.
Did you put a blanket around your microphone because you were afraid it was going to get cold, or is that soundproofing?
It's also kind of windy. So
okay.
I'm just trying to even under suboptimal. It's possible to have optimal conditions under suboptimal conditions, and I'm aiming for both.
You're doing great. Things. And welcome to MacBreak Leafy.
Can I just ask you, Andy, real quick? Can you center yourself on your camera, like you're off center?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's hard for us to put you in the 3 box if you're not right in the middle.
Okay. Oh, and by the way, I also have because
a leaf just blew by you.
See, this is what like as I am you'll not believe the amount of cursing that I was doing like a half hour ago.
Oh, I was doing it too.
I was trying to cheer myself up by saying if this is acceptable video and acceptable audio, it will actually be a very cool visual.
I think from now on, I want you to be out in the wilderness doing a show. I think it'd be great.
Plus, that means that like you can see how dashing my collection of scarves are.
I thought it was
the iPhone sock.
So did I. We thought we were just talking about the iPhone sock, and we thought maybe Andy's already got one.
Yeah.
It's an iPhone muffler. Somebody in our Discord chat says, "Welcome to MacBreak Leafy."
There you go. You see, if we were one of those like YouTube like really active like 10 million subscriber YouTube channels, your back room people will be designing a MacBreak Leafy T-shirt, and by the end of the show, we would say limited edition. We're only offering this on the store for the next 72 hours.
I give you the rights to that. Stephen Robles, who does in fact, as the Bearded Tutor, have a very popular YouTube channel. You want to sell?
I'm going to make that merch while we record it.
Yeah,
it'll be up by the end.
But damn it, I cleaned my office for nothing. Do you realize like what I was doing all morning long?
It's not for nothing, because you're going to go home to a clean office. Think
True.
about that. This was breaking last week. We didn't really get much of a chance to talk about it. Apple, apparently, according to Bloomberg, is nearing a $1 billion a year deal to use Google's AI for Shlomo, for Siri. Since that story broke last week, last Wednesday, a lot of people saying it's Apple capitulating. What do you guys think? Is this, Alex, is this Apple saying, oh, I guess we just can't do it ourselves. We're going to have to do it with Google?
I think a lot of people would prefer Apple to find another short-term solution while they work on the long-term solution, that they just want it to work, and so I think that I think Apple, it's easier for them to think about the long term when they're not trying to fix the train while it's running.
And Apple has promised to put Siri smarts in next year, right?
Yeah, and so I think it makes a lot of sense. I don't think that it is. I mean, again, I have the only thing I expect Siri to do for me, because I have Janet, which is my ChatGPT shortcut, and so for me, the only thing I expect from Siri is time, and sometimes directions,
and maybe do you even use it for setting timers for cooking?
Yeah, I mean, we use that. We have the original HomePod that sits in the kitchen, and
that's your timer. Your kitchen
there's a constant
timer.
Yelling at it for timers and so on and so forth. So it does most of the heavy lifting there. But and I use my iPhone, iPhone as well for timers. But I usually do it by hand. I don't know. I don't find it to be very comfortable to try to. I don't trust it to do it that way. So, but for me with Siri, I expect so little of Siri that I don't think I would miss it that much. But I will say that as soon as someone realizes they can do a shortcut to go to ChatGPT voice mode, like that's the thing that once people understand that you can just there's a shortcut built into the shortcuts that is just once you've loaded ChatGPT, that's ChatGPT voice mode, it just immediately jumps into ChatGPT in voice mode. And talks back to you, you kind of forget that you needed Siri to do anything else because it does it so well.
Well, yeah. A lot of people already do that. I mean, you can map the action button, like you're saying, to that shortcut. And this Gemini thing, I mean, it's a stopgap until Apple actually launches its smarter voice assistant. Supposedly it's going to run on private cloud compute. It'll be in the background. Who knows if Apple will even say the words Gemini in whatever event that it actually launches this, or if it will just be in 26.4 next year. But this will hopefully make the assistant able to pull things like from your text messages, information from your email. Then you can actually ask it things like, when is my mom landing at the airport? And it will just know. All those things that it showed off at WWDC last year, year and a half ago. Hopefully those things will be made possible by this new integration.
It's a very smart model. It's a 1.2 trillion, what do you call it?
Parameter. 1.2 billion parameter compared to
with a T.
I'm sorry,
it's huge.
Billion.
Trillion. 1.2 trillion parameters.
But it compares with like the 150, 200 billion parameter model that they have running right now. I mean, this is nothing but a win-win for both companies. I'm so glad that Apple was able to. There was a time where the not invented here screed would have been so loud that they would never have farmed this out to anybody else. But they are so committed to whatever their roadmap is for AI. It is so contingent upon having a functional version of an AI enhanced Siri next spring, as they delayed it out to, that they say, you know what, we are not going to get there on our own. We are just going to simply we're going to do the silly thing and basically write a big check to the company that's been doing this for 10 or 15 years that can basically write us a white label version of Gemini. This is not like this is not going to be Gemini on Apple Intelligence. This is going to be, please build us a version of a version of your Gemini model that meets our requirements specifically, that will run on our super Apple privacy AI servers, and will meet all the requirements that we had for our original models, but we will actually be able to ship this on time. And as Stephen said, this gives Apple time to say the pressure's now not completely off, but we don't have to make stupid mistakes in order to, in the interest of making a spring deadline. We can basically take the next year or two. And also, there's Apple's not going to Apple's going to treat Google like a subcontractor, just like they subcontract out a whole bunch of work. I mean, this is a big feather in Google's cap, because it's not that they absolutely $1 billion a year is not a bad thing whatsoever, but what it also says is that it says to the rest of the world that, hey, Apple needed a language assistant model, and they contracted us to do it because we know what we're doing and we can absolutely deliver on that. If Apple decided that Google was the contractor of choice, perhaps you might also consider hiring us and contracting us for your AI work. It's a win-win for both companies.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if Google's already paying Apple more than $20 billion a year to be the default search on Safari, $1 billion back.
It's like after they did the tap to pay, there's a screen like, would you like to add another $1.2 billion as a gratuity?
To tip Google? It is a 20% tip. Yeah, that's exactly right.
What would be interesting is OpenAI has the direct system integration right now.
So
like you can
5%.
log into ChatGPT in the settings app of Apple Intelligence. So I'm curious, there were rumors that they were going to add other options to that setting screen for Apple Intelligence. Will Gemini be there, or will it strictly be behind the scenes? Is Anthropic going to be in there? And will they eventually drop that OpenAI partnership once this Google Gemini thing goes through? So I'd be curious how they navigate that, if they're going to keep it siloed, like you could still do OpenAI over here. So see.
Yeah, well, this definitely seems like a totally separate thing, where all along Apple's been talking about, like, we are not so delusional as to say that we are going to be one of the titans of artificial intelligence in 2 or 3 years' time. They acknowledge that people are forming relationships, professional and personal, with OpenAI, ChatGPT, and with Gemini, and with Perplexity, and with Claude. And so, if you want to use those bots, we will absolutely make it easy for those APIs to actually extend out and to let you use those things. This is. I'm gonna do a really dangerous thing and try to use car lingo, because I only know things about deep cars by watching videos. But it's sort of like we say, my God, this is the Lamborghini, blah 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 blah, and then you open up the hood, like, oh, it's got a Toyota engine in it. Yeah, well, again,
see, Alex, we're gonna suck you in eventually to the cars culture. Yeah.
I don't think so. And
I'm hoping at some point a mama bear and a baby bear wander by Andy. And the baby says, "Look, Mama, it's a podcaster. Don't touch the human. They're dangerous. Come on."
My God, it's a podcaster making money from their podcast. It's a rare species.
A rare commodity.
Species. That's why. that's why they're allowed to, like, basically like cows in India, basically go wherever they want to go, because they're blessed.
We'll continue with On the Trail with Andy Nacco in just a little bit. Alex Lindsay,
many parts of a pine tree are edible.
is also here. Tastes just like what he said. Tastes like bark. I can't remember Yule Gibbons. Right?
I don't know. I barely remember Grape Nuts commercials.
It was Grape Nuts. That's what it was. Yeah. A rare outdoor podcaster. Look at his yellow coloring. It's because he hasn't seen the sun in days. Also with us, the bearded tutor. It's great to have Stephen Robles filling in for Jason Snell this week. Nice to see you, Stephen. That's what a podcast studio should look like right there. Look at that. That is something. We will talk actually about some changes to podcasting wrought by good old Apple in just a little bit. Also, the Mark Gurman Sunday newsletter had a lot of interesting stories. We'll get to those too. You're watching Mac. What is it? Mac Leaf Breakley? MacBreak Leafly?
MacBreak Leafly. I'm making the shirt right now.
Trademark.
He's making the shirt, so we got to call it that. Thank you for being here. Our show today brought to you by Framer. Look at that. Look at that. That is Framer. That is something else. If you're still jumping between tools just to update your website, Framer unifies design, CMS, and publishing on a single canvas. This is amazing. No handoff, no hassle. Everything you need to design and publish in one place. Framer has already built the fastest way to publish beautiful production-ready websites, and it's now redefining how we design for the web with the recent launch of Design Pages, a free canvas-based design tool. Framer's more than a site builder. It's a true all-in-one design platform, from social assets to campaign visuals to vectors and icons, all the way to a live site. Framer is where ideas go live, start to finish. And here's the best part. Framer is free. A free, full-feature design tool. Free, unlimited projects, free, unlimited pages, free, unlimited collaborators, all the essentials. You get vectors, 3D transforms, gradients, wireframes, everything you need to design totally free. What? Yes, Framer's your entire workflow in one place. You don't have to import from Figma anymore. No messy HTML. It's faster, it's cleaner, it's more efficient because you work in one place right there. Design more than websites too. Framer, you could even do our MacBreak Leafy t-shirt in there. It lets you create social assets, campaign visuals. Framer even lets you do icons and site resources all inside the tool. You don't have to switch back and forth anymore. Framer, love this, stands above the competition because it's not just a site builder. It's also a true design tool that also publishes professional, production-ready sites. Ready to design, iterate, and publish all in one tool. Start creating for free at framer.com/design and use the code MacBreak for a free month of Framer Pro. That's framer.com/design and use the promo code MacBreak. Framer.com/design, promo code MacBreak. Rules and restrictions may apply. Framer.com/design. Thank you, Framer, for your support. MacBreak Weekly. Sunday, of course, every Sunday, Mark Gurman publishes his newsletter. Sometimes he doesn't have much to say, so it's all speculative. I feel like last Sunday, he had a lot more to say, including news that might be disappointing to some or good news for others. I'm not sure. We already know he's been talking a lot about, and others have also been talking about, the next generation redesigned MacBook Pro with an M6 processor and OLED screens. Maybe not the best news. He says it looks like if you want the OLED screen, you're going to have to get the top of the line M6 Pro or M6 Max, that the entry level low end 14-inch MacBook Pro will not have the redesign and will not have the OLED screen.
That often makes sense.
Yeah, I guess so. It's a little disappointing.
Yeah,
but I was expensive.
It's going to be. It seemed like they're going OLED everywhere, even on the iPad. So it's like, wouldn't that be nice if you just get OLED for free with everything? Unless you're buying the cheapest thing. Okay, fine. It's 2025. We will give you those sultry blacks and those wonderful penetrating colors with the Apple design, color balanced eye.
Oh, it'll be gorgeous. And that was the rumor, that Apple was going to do OLED everywhere. So that's apparently not true. I don't think Apple would have done OLED in the iPhone chip-based, really, really inexpensive MacBook. But nobody would expect that. But a MacBook Pro, you kind of think, well, should have OLED everywhere. So the M6 Pro and the M6 Max MacBook Pro will have, according to Gurman, the thinner chassis, touch screen. That's also going to be confusing. If some MacBook Pros, the new one, don't have touchscreen and some do, late 2026, early 2027.
I don't think that's going to happen.
You're not a fan? You don't think it's going to happen?
I mean, it's been rumored so many times. I know a lot of people want it, but I mean, Apple's still all in on iPad. I mean, it has the M5 chip right now, tandem OLED. I don't see it. I think we'll see a foldable iPhone before we see a touchscreen Mac.
Well, and I think it makes more sense to make the iPad more and more like a Mac than to try to make the Mac like an iPad. I just think that it's easier for them to keep moving it that direction, but maybe not.
Yeah, and also I'm totally with you, Stephen, because my problem with it is as such is that I really, really think that if this is not a small thing, if Apple had the desire to simply say, okay, well, guess what? We will basically have a virtual mouse device as a touch screen, and that'll be the end of it. They would have done that a long time ago. Like you can't just simply do that. You have to actually rethink the entire interface, and in a much more aggressive way than they've done so with liquid glass. I feel as though if they were really thinking about doing that as early as next year, which is one of the rumors that Mark Gurman is passing along, we would have seen we would have seen Mac OS 26 and everyone asking why are the window buttons so big? Like why are the default, but why are they so big all of a sudden? That's almost gaudy. And then we think, oh, maybe they really are doing a touchscreen device, but I'm going to believe it when I see it.
This, by the way, today is the 10th anniversary of the release of the iPad Pro. It first came out November 11th, 2015. And as David Pierce writes in The Verge, a decade of unrealized potential. I disagree. I think it is with iOS 26 or iPad OS 26 has started to achieve its potential. I'm using the iPad Pro more and more, partly because of the OLED screen and the touch, to be honest.
So I will say I got the M5 iPad Pro as a review unit, did a video. It's great. The screen is amazing. The 13-inch, I came from an 11. I think windowing in iPadOS 26 makes a lot more sense on the larger screen.
Oh, yeah.
I've been using it more, even with Stage Manager. The problem with the iPad, and I love it, I edit podcasts every day on it. I actually prefer editing podcasts on the iPad with an Apple Pencil. The problem is still the browser. And like one of the reasons I'm designing our MacBreak Leafy shirt right now in Fourth Wall, which is like a merch design site. And you cannot design shirts on the iPad through the Fourth Wall website. You try to do it, and Fourth Wall will just tell you need to go to a desktop browser.
But see, that's a limitation of Fourth Wall, not of Safari.
Well,
but
even like Squarespace. I use a ton of Squarespace websites. I edit them. I've been doing it for years, trying to edit a Squarespace website on iPad, which Squarespace will let you do it. It doesn't kick you out. It is a bad experience, even using a trackpad with Magic Keyboard. And so I still think, even though Apple claims it's a desktop browser,
you don't think touch is better than a trackpad for that kind of thing?
For editing,
I think for photo editing, touch is better, or the pencil.
Well, pencil is great for like photo editing. Again, I prefer for podcast editing, maybe even for some video editing.
But not design.
When you're trying to, do a WYSIWYG website editor like Squarespace and drag blocks around so they actually go in the right order, it's not good on the iPad. And I think it's because the Safari browser on iPad is still not the same as it is on the desktop.
It's funny. I was thinking about when was the last time I was on. So I end on my iPad. I end up in the browser by accident, but I never use my iPad with the browser. Like I didn't really think about it until you were mentioning it, and I was like, oh yeah, I don't do that at all. I mean, I use apps on my iPad. I use a lot of different apps on my iPad, but I definitely view, it was just, and I have to admit that I don't use the Safari on my phone much either. Like, I definitely am modal. Like as I was thinking through that, I realized that I don't view web experiences because of the ads and because of all the other stuff that pops up. I find that the web experience on both of them are not particularly a great experience. And if I need to do something on the web, and it's not. I mean, I'm on my phone and my iPad all the time, but it's all through apps. It's all app driven.
Well, Stephen, do me a favor. I hate to do this. This is a free plug for our sponsor. We just did an ad for Framer. They claim to work just great on iPad OS. Mm-hmm. I think if Squarespace doesn't, I think you have to blame Squarespace, not so much blame the Safari on the iPad. But
I'm not.
Give it a shot. Just let me know.
I'll give it a shot. I mean, but even aside from the browser, so Apple clearly knows that creators using the iPad, podcasters, iPadOS 26 brought like mic input. You can finally, after 10 years, choose the mic input manually on the iPad.
Oh, and double in recording.
Yeah. I mean, Jason Snell's doing that all the time now.
But you can't choose the output. You can't manually choose the output. And so if you wanted to use AirPods with a USB microphone, you're kind of up a creek, depending on what app you're using. And so it's so close to being that same experience. Like I would love to run Audio Hijack on my iPad.
What do you edit on? What are you editing podcasts?
The Ferrite app on iPad.
Yeah, that's what Jason uses. Yeah,
it's amazing. Yeah, and it's I can do chapter artwork, all that kind of stuff. And so some experiences are great, and things like digital music. My wife uses her iPad. She plays in an orchestra. She plays flute, And so she'll use a Bluetooth foot pedal in the iPad, something a Mac could never do because you can't put a MacBook on a music.
You see iPads in concerts all the time now.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, and she's playing in a small wind ensemble this week, and they're all going to be using iPads.
Yeah.
It's going to be, a woodwind quintet. So there's some place the iPad excels.
What software?
It is a pro device, but yeah.
Footnote.
For music?
Yeah.
Fourscore. Fourscore is the best app.
Everybody agrees. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You can even turn pages by blinking, which is amazing. They actually use the camera, and you can turn a page by blink or a mouth gesture or a head nod, which playing flutes, you can't really use those.
You get something
gestures.
in your eye and you'll be like 20 pages ahead.
Right.
I was at a Santa Rosa Symphony concert a couple of weeks ago, and the pianist was using an iPad. I was blown away because usually, it used to be you'd have somebody sit just over your shoulder, turning the page for you. You don't have to do that anymore. I wonder if she was blinking. I didn't notice how she was turning the pages.
So my wife uses a Bluetooth foot pedal. So she'll connect a Bluetooth foot pedal and click that, and that turns the page forward and back. And so iPad is just incredible in so many use cases. There's just little things here and there that it's like it could almost get there, just those little things holding it back.
Amazing. All right. Well, I honestly think touch should come to the Mac. Not that you'd put a MacBook on your piano.
But remember Steve Jobs in that event? He was like, "Who's going to hold their arm up like this?"
Yeah.
And poke the
all I know is because I use the iPad Pro so much, I'm always touching the screen on my MacBook because I have that habit.
I'll just say I've always thought that Apple absolutely that was one of Apple's like top 3 or 4 wrong calls in their entire life about saying no, people don't want to do this, and you just want to say, actually, they're not doing that. What they're doing is like they are folding the screen 360 degrees for those situations where you kind of just want a tablet little bit of an experience, or they're tenting it so that you can actually use it just as like sort of a video player thing, or they're drawing things on it,
right?
Which are things that artists are very likely to do. Tim, it's like he tried to make fun of it as saying, oh, it's kind of like having a fridge toaster. That was like the exact quote. It's like. They missed the bus, and now they can't catch that bus, so they may as well forget that bus existed.
Well, I think also that I do when I have some screens here that I can touch, and so they act as USB controllers back to my Mac, and so I have the experience of touch now on a computer, and the problem really is that the interface is not built for it. And so as a result, like Apple, there's really engineering on Apple's side.
The touch targets too small.
It's not. And so you're just constantly frustrated by it. I do tap on things, but not very much, because if it's in there's places where it makes sense, but for the most part, it doesn't make sense because they would have. So I think that Apple would have to re-engineer a lot of the OS, which they haven't been willing to do. They'd rather just work on making the iPad work. Apple tends to be kind of like, well, let's just make the thing that's built for it do the thing, and then not.
All right, let's have a straw poll then. I think yes to touch screens on the next MacBook Pros. You say no, Alex?
I'll say no.
Stephen, you said no, right?
No.
Andy, you're either going to put us in a tie or you're going to send me to purgatory.
This would have been a great idea for 2018. If they do it, I don't see it happening next year. That's all. I don't think never. I'm just saying I don't see it happening next year.
All right. I'm going to be the lone holdout.
I told you so.
Yeah, I will.
It's a great idea. If they had done this in 2018, I would have been so on board with this. But there is a good argument to be made that because they made the wrong choice all those years ago, okay, they were forced. That means that they were forced to turn the iPad Pro into something that could do at least 70% of what a MacBook could do. And for that reason, that removes a lot of the reasons why Apple would otherwise be kind of forced to do this sort of thing. And now they're not forced to do this thing. They can basically get people to buy iPads instead. Gurman who had who a couple of weeks ago was saying not only foldable iPad, but folding 18-inch iPad, which got me thinking that, okay, again, wow, I'll put $10 against that because I bet I can get really good odds on it. But the thing is, if you're trying to like figure out why that would ever make sense, if you think about the idea of, well, what if we gave artists an 18-inch like easel sort of drawing surface? Already they have these like Cintiq style like tablets, which is an integrated display that they do. Every comic book is drawn on this certain sort of thing. That would be kind of intriguing, but oh my goodness, I can't even imagine what 18-inch diagonal screen of iPad app would look like.
Well, since you guys don't believe that they're going to do a touchscreen Mac OS, this is then a moot question. But you mentioned convertibles. I mean, in the Windows world, of course, one of the advantages, probably the only advantage you have in the Windows world, is a huge number of manufacturers trying all kinds of stuff. So there's a lot of choice. There are convertibles, which are ones, as you said, Andy, that can flip all the way around. And now you've got a tablet with a keyboard in the back. It's a little weird, but there are detachables that you could detach the screen and turn it into just a tablet by itself. That's not a good design. The machines I've had like that, like the Surface, not great. But there are choices. You think Apple, if they do touch, since you don't believe it, I guess it's a dumb question. Do you think they might make new form factors of laptops, something not quite the same?
I think the form factor I would be excited about, and I think they might go back to, is an even smaller laptop. Like I had the 12-inch
the MacBook.
Sure. The MacBook, the 12-inch MacBook was great. I loved the portability.
Everybody loved that.
Yeah, it was terribly underpowered at the time. But now they can use their own silicon, make a 12-inch, one port, maybe 2-port computer, and it could be great. So I think they might experiment more with those kinds of form factors before they do touchscreens on the Mac.
Yeah, there'd also be no point to just doing there'd almost be no point to doing like a MacBook with a touch screen, unless the only thing it's good for is like I do kind of like this thing where it's like I've just got my hand sort of resting on the side.
Yeah, that's what I do. I scroll.
But that'd be just such a waste to just do that. So, yeah, they'd have to do a new form factor.
And I still think that Apple would rather just keep evolving, because they keep on adding laptop features to the iPad, and it feels like that's where they want to spend their energy, is make the iPad more like a Mac, not make a Mac more like an iPad.
What if they made a 12-inch MacBook Nothing, but they put an M6 Max in it?
that's nice. Keep your hands nice and warm during football games and stuff like that.
Well, it's closer to the aluminum, so it radiates better.
They should call it. They have the Mac accordion where you just have them. They snap together, and you just keep on adding them. So if you want 4 of them like connected to each other, you just keep snapping them on.
If Samsung thinks they're big shots with having a trifold, how about a 4-fold, a 5-fold, a sectafold?
Well, we do agree that
you can have them all, they could be like Legos, so you could snap them up. So if you want a 3x2 or a 3x3, and it just all just kind of
I want a Mac that's like a room partition, okay, where you just sort of keep folding it out when you want.
But just think, if they all had their own processors, as you do that, it could become a network rendering system. I mean, the thing could. I think that there's a future here.
The Mac accordion, they got Weird Al like endorse it, like he could do like the anyway.
You have seen the rollable ThinkBook, right? Again, this is another example of diversity in the Windows world. This is a screen that rolls up. We actually demoed it on Windows Weekly a couple of months ago when it came out. I think somebody had it. Brad. Oh no, it was on Twit. Was it Brad Sams who had it? Anyway, it rolls up so that you get an extra like this much. And then it rolls down before you close it.
Yeah, it was on the Tonight Show. Jimmy Fallon showed that off on the Tonight Show.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's cool, but I feel like real life, though.
Tech Tips.
Yeah, real life. I don't think you're going to see that kind of stuff out there. I think people just.
I mean, it's such a CES sort of thing where, hey, we want to show you that we're innovative and we're thinking about new ideas, and like Samsung and others, hey, we want you to know that we are making so many different panel designs that no matter what it is that you want to do, no matter how drunk you get, no matter what it is you dropped during Burning Man that gave you a vision of whatever kind of laptop it was, we can build you a curved snaky type folding, rolling, accordioning screen, just as long as you could like babble it into some sort of AI to get some sort of chat GPT image of it, we can actually make that for real. Just try us.
I think the problem for me is that if I have a couple little dots on my screen, they bother me. Like little scratches, I put the screen protector on my phone because I replace it every 2 or 3 months. Like I just pull it off, put another one on, because any little scratches or anything else, I'll let them build up a little bit and then I immediately get rid of the foldable phone for me. Every time I've seen a foldable phone, someone opens it, if my finger touches the fold, I literally get physically sick. like literally, it makes me want to throw up in my mouth. So just that little groove there makes me very upset, and I just like, I can't do that. Like, and it's totally flat. It's just my finger goes over it. I'm like, no. So no.
So you're not going to buy the folding iPhone 18? I have
so little interest in a foldable phone, just because again that ridge. If they were able to perfect that ridge, but I don't know how you would do it, and I know how upset I am with it. And so I can't like to me it's
So
just
you're
completely
saying
not a possibility.
If you're saying if you touch this, it would make you nauseated.
It makes me nauseous. There's something about it.
It looks weird,
there's some weird thing about it when my finger goes over it.
Yeah.
As the screen's on, when I'm interacting with something and my finger goes over it, I get sick.
Alex, I'm just curious as to what happens to kids in Western Pennsylvania that gives them those kinds of lifelong phobias.
It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me when the screen's off. It doesn't bother me when the screen's off. It's only when the screen's on. There's something about the video and my finger going over the hump that makes me sick. And yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it has something to do with the tractor.
I respect it. I can overlook that really quickly because for me, it's more like, my God, I'm actually reading a whole page of text, or oh my God, I've got actually a really good writing setup here in a pocket-sized thing. I am one of these people who will ignore it. I mean, it's not ideal, but it is not something that gets on my nerves. But I could absolutely see where somebody as good an eye as you thinking that no, I can't. I'm having a genetic response to this.
It's a weird thing.
I have a genetic response
against brain for me. So I'm like, no, I can't. Like, I don't even want to. I wouldn't even go to the Apple store to play with it. Like, it just like that's how much I dislike the idea.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, the bearded tutor and I are going to talk about changes in Apple Podcasts.
Leo, breaking news.
Breaking news. Yes.
You now officially get the MacBreak Leafy t-shirt.
Wow. Wow, look at that. It's got a little leaf on it. It's available from the Bearded Tutors merch store. What's the address of that, Stephen?
beardfm.store.
Oh my God. MacBreak Leafy.
Standing ovation.
Hoodie and a shirt, multiple colors.
I hope you sell hundreds of those. And Andy, you've got to wear one the next time you're out in the wilderness. MacBreak Leafy. That is awesome. And I have to point out, you're very economic. Those stores very economical. You're not making a lot of money on those things, I think.
Barely making anything, but I'll send you whatever profits I make. It's fine.
No, don't send me anything.
I'm going to have to give you, because what you're going to need for this is a really good thumbnail. So I'm actually going to, while you're talking with Leo about podcasting, I'm going to mute my mic and I'm going to go to the other side of this table where you can see a beautiful, like more of a fall landscape behind me.
That's good.
And then you could do an outline, a silhouette of the mutton chops. It'd be perfect. beardfm.store.
Very distinguished. beardfm.store.
Okay.
And, yep, you can get everything there. I also have my shortcuts there merch, so it's amongst other things, but it'll be a MacBreak Leafy shirt and hoodie, or shirt and sweatshirt at the bottom.
You got some nice stuff in this store, actually. I like it.
Thank you.
You've been doing some great work with shortcuts. You like the new iOS 26 shortcuts? And
I'm literally building a business on it. Like all the Apple Intelligence shortcuts, the automations. It's the one reason I tell people, like, if you're going to upgrade, like, that's why. I got a mug. I got a shortcuts mug here. I made a little actions.
It's awesome.
But yeah,
what's your favorite shortcut that you've done lately?
So this one went viral on Instagram. And so if you see a recipe on Instagram, and sometimes you could save the reel, but you never go back to it. I made this shortcut that if the creator put the ingredients and steps in the caption of the reel, you run this shortcut and it takes the caption, puts it through Apple Intelligence, and then it will it'll give you an ingredient list and a steps list and create an Apple Note. So you see a reel with a recipe you want to keep, you run the shortcut, and just like that, it creates an Apple Note with the steps and ingredients. And so that one, it's got like 1.5 million views on Instagram right now. And so that's been pretty well. And Apple Intelligence enabled that to be pretty seamless.
Probably a lot of people are using it on my son's Instagrams because he never puts the recipes in the reel. He says, no, this is ASMR cooking. It's not, you're not supposed to think about making it. You're supposed to watch and drool. But people have demanded it, so he started putting it in his descriptions. So it would work on that. It'll create an Apple Note, and it puts a link back to the reel at the bottom of the note, so you can always refer back to it easily. And I've used it myself, creating recipes from it or trying them. Yeah. Nightscape in our Discord is suggesting that the profits from MacBreak Leafy t-shirts go to Andy so he can buy a better jacket. Are you freezing? Are you freezing cold out there? He looks a little chilly.
Sorry. Obviously, you're not New Englanders. You don't. Number one, this is not cold. This is crisp. Secondly, excuse me, layers. layers.
Oh yeah, layers. I was watching Monday Night Football last night. It's 29 degrees in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and they're wearing like pullovers and stuff. And I'm thinking,
I got to say that this is like this Ike jacket is just like a service jacket, and I just bought it like because it
perfect.
was like
for Veterans Day. Yeah.
And I thought, I thought that I bought it just as a liner for my leather jacket for like cold days. But then like it's actually pretty warm in and of itself. And when you layer it, it's like, the thing is, the reason why this works is that you're trapping warm air next to your body. And when you are exerting yourself, the perspiration, the moisture, it leaves. It leaves
nice.
through. And so the last time I wore like a really, really thick, warm coat, I realized that I'm sweating like a mojo in this thing. I wish I were wearing. I know I look more like a functioning professional adult in this nice coat, but I really wish I was wearing my cheap $8 thrift store jacket and a few layers underneath.
And we have our first order. Rhymes with Mogul has already ordered the MacBreak Leafy shirt. So get ready, Steve, for an onslaught of 6 or 7 orders. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. Yes. All right. We're going to get back to the show in just a little bit with Mr. Leafy himself. The bearded tutor is here. And of course, Alex Lindsay. I don't have a nickname. I'm just some guy. You're Chief
Twit. Aren't you Chief Twit?
Yeah, I'm the Chief Twit everywhere now. Our show today brought to you by this. I'm so excited about this. Oh, I love it. This is the new Aura Ink digital frame. And I'm not the egotist. This just happened to be the photo. I change it every night. So every morning I get up and I have a new photo, and I just love this thing. You know Aura. I'm sure you know the name Aura because consistently the number one pick for digital frames by Wirecutter and everybody else. But they have just released something brand new that is very exciting. If you are an Apple lover, an Apple user, it's because, as Steve Jobs said, it's the intersection of arts and science, right? Design and function brought together. That's why we love Apple, and that's why you're going to love the Aura frame. It's technology that blends in with the rest of your home. Meet Ink, Aura's first ever cordless color e-paper frame, featuring a sleek 0.6-inch profile and a softly lit 13.3-inch display. Ink feels like a print. It functions like a digital frame and, perhaps most importantly, lives completely untethered by cords. With a rechargeable battery that lasts up to 3 months on a single charge, unlimited storage, and the ability to invite others to add photos via the Aura Frames app. It's the cordless wall-hanging frame you've been waiting for. I love it, and I think you're going to love it too. And it's perfect timing for the holidays. My mom's going to get one. This would be a gift for anybody in the family because you can send pictures through the Aura app to them. And this breakthrough in e-paper technology is very interesting. They have done a lot of work. The ink frame transforms millions of tiny ink capsules into your favorite photos. And it gives them a beautiful, like almost a vintage tone. It's not super saturated like an LCD screen. It looks like a print, and it's also more mindful. Ink automatically transitions to a new photo. I would recommend doing it overnight, once a day, extends battery life, gives you time to enjoy the photo. And it gives you a wonderful kind of feeling when you get up in the morning, as I do, and there's a picture I haven't seen in a few years. It gives you a chance to stay a little bit longer with a single photo. You could adjust the schedule. You can update it up to every other hour if you want. But I like it. They have a thing. Do you know the Comtech Institute? This is Comtech certified. The Comtech Institute recognizes it as a product designed to minimize digital noise and distraction. It's got it's intelligent lighting. It's not backlit. See, I just changed it to our kitty cat. It's a subtle front light, and it's very subtle. So it's not blinding you in the nighttime or anything like that. It just automatically throughout the day turns off completely at night. But it means that even in broad daylight, and this, by the way, the studio is heavily lit. It still looks great. You're going to get amazing, wonderful images. Let me pick an image. You can there's buttons on the top so you can switch through the images to find one you like. But again, I suggest using the app, picking the image you like, putting a set of images up there, uploading it, and then you're going to have some beautiful images every morning when you get up. And look at the detail. You can see in Lisa's sunglasses, you can see the rest of the stadium. It's really cool. This is really cool. I just love it. And yeah, there's a lot of thoughtful touches. It could go portrait or landscape. And they've got this really great little magnetic stand if you want to put it on a dresser or a table that will go on either side. And it snaps right in. It makes it very easy to do this. With its cordless design, ultra-thin profile, softly lit display, and paper-textured matting, Ink looks like a classic frame, not a piece of tech. See for yourself at auraframes.com/ink. Oh, and support the show by mentioning us at checkout. That's auraframes.com/ink. auraframes.com/ink. Thank you, Aura, for supporting MacBreak Weekly. Apple losing podcast legacy, goes the story at Beard FM. Why it matters and how to save it. Now, you're going to need to explain. You're not are you a podcaster, Stephen? I thought you were just a YouTuber.
No, I do. I've been podcasting for 15 years. I have a podcast now, a weekly show, audio and video.
And it's RSS like ours, right?
It's RSS. And well, here's the thing. I crashed out on my own podcast about these changes that Apple brought. And I don't know how much in detail I want to get. But I wanted to ask you, because the Twit network has been doing dual RSS feeds for video and audio for many years.
Yes.
Still do it to this day.
Yes.
And it's the only way to get video into Apple Podcasts. There's no mechanism. While the other players, YouTube, Spotify, and Spotify especially, has made it much easier for creators to have video and audio in one easy place. And even though I don't host on Spotify, my RSS feed is in Buzzsprout. I can go to Spotify once my episode publishes and literally upload a video file. And now those who watch or listen to my show on Spotify get one show. They can switch between audio and video seamlessly, and it's a great experience for them. It's easier for me as a creator. And those are the kind of things that I would wish from Apple. But I'm curious, do you want those kinds of features for Apple? I mean, I don't imagine.
No, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
And this is probably because we've been doing this for 20 years. And when we started, the whole idea of a podcast was simply you have an audio file. Later, we've started doing video, but you have an audio file, you put it on a site, and then you create an RSS feed, an RSS XML document that says where it is and updates, whenever you have a new one. And then a podcast client periodically gets that feed, keeps track of how many it's already downloaded, said, oh, there's a new file, and it downloads it automatically. It's very simple. We like it because it's privacy forward. We don't know anything about you except your IP address, which, anytime you download something, we're going to see your IP address. And we control both the text file, the RSS file, and the content by hosting it ourselves. I've always resisted the idea of putting our content in other people's servers. We use CacheFly, so we do, but that's a CDN. I mean, we control it basically, right? And I didn't want to give Apple our content. I didn't want to give Spotify our content. I didn't want to give YouTube. Now, unfortunately, in order to use Spotify and YouTube, you have to, right?
Right.
And also it's gotten more complicated because advertising has shifted to a direct ad insertion model. We try to avoid it as much as possible. The ad I just did is me in the show doing the ad, as opposed to, and you'll hear it later in this show, we didn't sell all 4 ad positions, so there's a 4th position. So the way we do remnant inventory, unsold inventory, is we give it, right now we're giving it to Libsyn, soon we're going to be giving it to a Megaphone, and they will insert an ad. But in order for that to work, they have to host it because of the technology. They have to have the podcast, and as you download it, they shove the ad in. And advertisers do like that for one reason. They can say only U.S. listeners because they know your IP address. Or if you're listening in North Carolina, put this ad in. If you're listening in South Carolina, put this ad in. So, but we don't make nearly as much on direct ad insertion as a host read ad, the ads that I do, for obvious reasons. They're a little intrusive. They don't fit the content exactly. They're the kinds of ads you see on TV and radio where they're just you're listening and boom, there's an ad, and then you're listening some more. I prefer not to do that, but just as I prefer not to upload to Spotify, but times change and you kind of have to go with the times. And so we have had to go with the times. But in general, my strong preference would be we host the video, we host the audio, we host the RSS feed, and that way we control it 100%. And if YouTube at some point says, I think you're showing people how to crack the Microsoft login in Windows 11, we're going to take your channel down. They can't, except they can because it's YouTube. But that's the point, is that I don't have to worry about being eliminated because somebody doesn't like what we do. And I think in this day and age, more than ever, independent media that works without fear or favor, and it cannot be taken down by the FCC or a big tech company that doesn't like what you say, is more and more important. So I really think, to the degree that we're able to, I want to keep doing that. So I don't want Apple to own my podcasts. No.
And so a couple things. One, there's actually open standards that the RSS team is working on, and some hosts have already implemented, called alternative enclosure. So transistor.fm, you can upload your video to Cloudflare or CacheFly, actually insert a video HLS link into your RSS feed, and podcast players can then actually pull either or depending on what the audience wants. So you could have one feed, someone can tap video or audio. This works right now in apps like Fountain, which is a podcasting 2.0 standard. So there actually is a video standard already existing, but none of the big players support it, including Apple Podcasts. So one would be great if they did.
I don't support. I really dislike this podcast 2.0 thing. It's a power grab. I don't do it. RSS,
but even like something like HLS, it's an RSS tag.
Tell me why you don't like HLS, Alex Lindsay.
I love HLS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But we're never going to stream in HLS. It's too limited.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that you want people to be able to download the whole file. Like HLS is really designed to stream it, and there's a bunch of advantages to that. Because they don't have to ever. It's a fast to start, and it's and you. And it doesn't stay on your drive. So, it's got a time of life. So it's light that way. But I think that most podcast consumers would prefer it to be downloaded and not have to think about whether they're connected or not. I know that for me, I don't want to be caught up in that. I have enough problems with YouTube that way. So I think that the downside of that HLS is, transformational when it comes to
streaming,
and that's what I mostly use it for. But for delivering something that's pre-recorded, I would rather, the advantage that it gives, because HLS is how YouTube delivers to you as well.
Right.
The advantage is that everything's light. You go to the next page. There's nothing to clean up. There's nothing to go anywhere. There's nothing to download. You just go to the next thing and get it. But
you have to also have hardware and software that supports it, right?
Not really.
Everybody supports HLS now, because for a while you could only watch, for instance, Apple's live streams, which were in HLS on Safari.
But YouTube is HLS as well. Like YouTube,
So everybody does HLS now.
I think Apple chose to. Apple's been the Apple stuff's been available for at least a decade on anything. It usually performs better on Safari because Chrome and Android and Windows are so limited when it comes to Vision and Atmos. So it's gonna look and sound way better on Safari on an Apple platform than it will on the other platforms. But I think that they've been available. It's just
look, we stream now on YouTube, Twitch, Kick,
who are all
LinkedIn,
HLS, like all of it HLS.
So you can watch us live streaming on any of those platforms. We want to give it in any form that our audience wants. I just don't want anybody else to host the files if possible.
Right. And so I'm totally with it. Like RSS being an open standard is
I love that.
The core of podcasting, and it needs to endure. And so one of the other things that made me crash out was about the Apple Podcast new features, which are auto-generated chapters. That's fine.
See, I like that because everybody's asked for chapters for us for years, and it's too much manpower. I don't want to devote the manpower. But if it's done automatically by Apple, I'm fine with that. That's great. That gives people what they want.
I am curious how big shows like Smart Lists and things like that who do dynamically inserted ads, will they allow those auto-generated chapters to stand?
Oh,
and
that's
will Apple
interesting.
create one that says,
because you could skip the ads.
Sponsor break?
Yeah.
And so creators can opt out of those auto-generated chapters. I imagine some of those big shows will do that. They will opt out. But the second feature they announced last week was called timed links. And so this has been an RSS protocol for years where you can actually link a chapter in your MP3 file through ID3 tags, and then someone in a podcast player can actually click that link while they're listening. This feature is available in Pocket Cast and Overcast and a lot of third-party apps where you can add a link to a chapter, users can click it.
Yeah, people have been asking for that. It's just too much work for me.
But Apple Podcast has not supported this. You cannot click those.
That's another reason not to do it, yeah.
But so now timed links that Apple has introduced is not, it is using this protocol to an extent, but it will only allow links to Apple services. So you can link Apple TV shows, Apple News articles, Apple Music, Apple
This
Books,
is what I hate about all this stuff. It's
fragmentation.
I don't like it.
This is the first time that Apple has not only ignored the open RSS protocol to link a chapter, but has now superseded it with its own protocol, but it's only going to show links to its products and services. And so that's why this seems like a first step in this is now not good. This is not good. If Apple's going to do timed links and allow those links in the now playing screen, in the transcript, it needs to be able to go to anywhere. If you have a sponsor break, that would be great.
Go to the sponsor.
Link to the sponsor in the sponsor break. And if a podcaster, or maybe someone has a guest on their show. And
YouTube TV does that. I find it incredibly annoying. When I'm watching YouTube TV, it says, Leo, click here to go to the webpage. I don't get it.
But it's on the creator to put those links in. If you as a host wanted to link, to one of your sponsors or whatever. So this is the first time that Apple is commandeering this. They didn't support the open protocol. Now they're kind of supporting it, but only for its services.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things where I and also just as a high level, Apple used to have 80% or more of podcast consumption. Everybody used to go to Apple and iTunes back in the day to listen to podcasts. They've now dropped to under 20%. Many metrics say 15, 11% is the Apple podcast share of the podcast consumption market. YouTube is number one, Spotify is number two. So Apple has already lost ground as a place where people look for and discover podcasts, especially younger demographics like Gen Z, younger. YouTube is how they find new podcasts and where they listen to it. And so Apple has lost its influence and cachet in the podcast industry.
It's
now
true.
Also commandeering some of these open standards and for its own uses, like these timed links. And so I was trying to just raise a flag to say, this Apple needs to refocus on what do podcast consumers and audiences want? Can you offer those services? And what tools can they continue to give to creators that will actually compete with Spotify and YouTube to keep it competitive in the space? And I think Apple has been a good arbiter, a benevolent dictator of podcasts for a long time. They had the podcast directory that they allowed any third-party apps and services to hook into, so you can search that directory. And they've been a great arbiter of podcasts for years. And I feel like they still need to do it so there can be another player pulling on the opposite side of YouTube and Spotify, trying to keep podcasts open, acknowledging the standards of RSS and supporting that, and not entering a closed system like things like these timed links for only Apple services.
But you see, this is why from day one, Stephen, I don't want to get in bed with big companies on this. I want to preserve this as an open standard because inevitably companies are going to head towards profit. That's what they do. By the way, thank you for the nice plug in your article for Twit and MacBreak Weekly. Here's a question though for our audience. I don't know, you say it's not good to have separate audio and video feeds. Does that bother you people? Or would you prefer that there was one feed that you would choose audio or video?
Do you have data on how many people watch the video RSS feed?
It varies. It varies. They don't watch it, they download it, but it varies. So this show, it's about 30%, I think. There are some shows that are more visual, that it's more than half.
And that's pretty good. And one of the things is people want video. Younger generations want video. Obviously, YouTube now being number one, podcasting, obviously video is a thing. But for creators, especially smaller ones, hosting video is expensive. Finding a podcast host that you can work with and actually afford to host all your video files is tough. And then for the audience, while HLS might not be the perfect protocol, downloading video files of a dozen podcasts that you might follow every week is not sustainable from just a storage thing on your phone to having to deal with all that. And so I feel like there can be a middle ground somewhere where you can offer video. I mean, the Apple Podcast app is literally on Apple TV. There's not much video content in that app. And I think your shows, again, admirably for one is offered video there, but just not many creators do it because it's complicated, it's expensive, and it's just not something that
we actually ended up building an automated workflow that does all of that. So it's no longer complicated, but it would be if you were starting from scratch for sure. I tell people don't ever do video if you're starting a podcast.
But if you want to
that might be the worst advice ever. Now that YouTube is so dominant in podcasts.
The hard part is that YouTube has gotten so big, and it's weird to go to a YouTube one and not have video.
I know.
So it's, and that's that people have little images up, they have whatever, but it definitely impacts average view time when you don't have video. And
I'm glad we started doing video early on because I had come from TV and I just liked it. But it's complicated. It adds expense. It adds production difficulty. But it's too bad. I mean, audio podcasts really, that was kind of a neat idea. It's very old fashioned, I think.
Well, and now I will say, I'm not saying that audio podcasting is going away. Like, even if I look at my own data, we do a YouTube show, the exact same as the audio. People listen for longer to audio still. The retention rate and the percentage of an episode consumed on audio for our shows, about 60 to 70%. That same episode on YouTube, only 20 to 30% gets consumed on average. So audio is still important. People still develop a closer relationship to creators and podcasters through that audio-only medium. And I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon. But for new podcasts and those that want to grow their audience, video is a thing that they have to consider. And Apple being one of the biggest players, or at least has been in the podcast space, it would be nice if they thought about how they can build tools for creators and build a product where video had a little bit more of an emphasis.
Yeah. This is a constant debate in the podcasting community.
Leo,
yes.
Think 3D. Just think about
no.
3D stereoscopic. Stereoscopic webcams, everything stereoscopic.
Do we?
I bet you we could do that. I bet you we could do that with everyone.
We've done that one. We did one, right?
In 3D?
Didn't we? With you?
No. Oh yeah, we did. We did do it in space. See, so
Alex,
we could
what
do
about
that.
Immersive?
But we could do it. But if everybody had, I think you could do it. If everybody had an iPhone 15 or above, you could build a podcast that was completely spatial. It works in my head.
Can I just point out that like my internet situation is so bad that I'm doing it in a parking, basically in a public.
Hey, but by the way, I like the new backdrop. You've moved the camera a little bit.
But Andy,
I also moved the sun to golden hour setting.
Smart. Yeah, golden hour. It's beautiful.
The other thing though, Andy, though, is that you would look so good in 3D right now. Like you'd have all these vanishing points, and you'd have the mic up there and the trees and that would have been scary. Everyone would have ducked right there.
My goal is really to give people what they want. So if there were huge demand for 360, we would probably do it. But I wouldn't want to because it's crazy. I like how we do it, but it's very old fashioned, and everything's changing in podcasting so dramatically that I don't even know how much longer we're going to be able to do what we do. We're very old school because I'm old.
Yeah, but I still think, a lot of people said the last election was the podcast election, that it's more influential now more than ever.
Yeah, and another reason why I don't want to participate.
but the data too is like 55% of Americans listen to podcasts monthly.
But they don't listen to our podcasts. They don't listen to our style. This is we're very old school, aren't we? I mean, I don't feel like we're.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. They used to say the road to the White House goes through like the Tonight Show or whatever when Johnny Carson was hosting. Now it's like some bro that you've never heard of that nonetheless talks about nothing but like supplements and like his weight training regimen. And unfortunately this guy with about 30 years of experience in the Senate and the governor's office has to talk for an hour and a half and say, yeah, well, I don't know if I really have a favorite protein powder. I've been too busy trying to basically bring jobs back to America to really think about whether it's whey or whether it's oats or whatever. But I'd like to know what you have to think, Tony.
It's still I'm an old man shouting at the clouds, and it's
sometimes the clouds are out of line, Leo.
Yeah, sometimes they deserve to be shouted at. It's interesting to. From my perspective, to watch, when I was a young man like you guys, I looked at old people and thought, boy, they're really out of touch. Now that I'm an old person, I kind of understand a little bit better the old person perspective. And things were better back in the day. I just want to keep doing what I feel like we should be sitting around a pickle barrel playing checkers is all I'm saying. And if we could figure out how to do that in spatial video, well, all right.
The last thing I'll say, podcasting as a medium is important because it is one of the few places free of algorithms.
Exactly.
Obfuscating the creator and the audience.
Exactly.
And there's very few places like that, paid private community.
And this is one of the things I have against YouTube is it perversely incentivizes, thumbnails and a certain kind of story and keep it going, keep people watching as long as possible. Don't give them the information they came for until they're 15 minutes in so that we get
Leo, can you do that one more time for me, please? Thank you.
Yeah, our thumbnail. We have to do this every time. I know.
I would actually argue, though, my highest viewed video, which has almost 1 million views on YouTube, is an hour long. And the whole video is talking step by step how to use your iPhone. And a lot of my content on YouTube is not outlandish or audacious. It's me talking about shortcuts for 20 minutes. And the only camera shot is my phone.
See, I think content.
And so that's what I'm saying. Valuable content will still win out over time. That's what I believe. And I think podcasting is one of those mediums that will still last the test of time. I just want other players like Apple, who can still be influential, to keep affecting that medium and not just leave it to YouTube and Spotify to make all the calls. TikTok has said they're going to start getting into video podcasts. Netflix wants to do original podcasts, but all of these are closed systems. And Apple was the only big player, at least bolstering that open system for a long time. I just want them to keep doing that.
I love this. In addition to that weird thumbnail, John Ashley, we want to use the heading, "You'll never believe where this podcaster is." Okay? I think we're going to get a million views. I'm just saying. Thank you, Rhymes with Mogul, for that suggestion in our Discord chat. You do a great job, Stephen. And do you feel like you're on the right track, that this is something that's sustainable and you'd like to keep doing?
Well, that's one of the reasons why I push people into. I have a paid community now just for shortcuts.
Yeah, that's been good for us. Yeah,
a more sustainable and regular source of income. But I do think YouTube specifically is going to be around for a long time, and a lot of people spend time there. It's interesting, the stats of how many people watch my videos on their TV as opposed to their phone and computer. Some of my shortcuts videos, it's like over 50% just watch it on the TV. And so that's one of the reasons why, if you're a podcaster, and
it is kind of amazing, isn't it? Yeah,
it's a good place to be.
I've always said, just be where the audience is, be where they want you to be, and so that's true.
And I think that changes. I know that for me, for whatever reason, I almost never watch YouTube on my phone. I watch it on my TV. I watch it, and I don't even watch it on my computer that much. I think of going to my living room, opening up Apple TV, and going to the YouTube app and wandering around. And it's funny. I watch TikTok on my phone, obviously. So TikTok and Instagram on my phone, but YouTube has become, and I've talked to other people. It's definitely a trend where YouTube, and part of it I think has to do with better audio quality, better video quality, better production quality. Now makes it feel like you're missing something if you're not watching it on a larger screen, because the quality, when we started YouTube, it wasn't worth watching on a big screen. It was pretty ugly. But now, a 70-inch screen or 75-inch screen TV. It's
amazing, isn't it?
People are publishing in 4K with Sony cameras or Blackmagic cameras, and
see, that's the game. I don't want to try to compete with Marquez Brownlee. Because I'll lose. I can't.
But you don't have to compete on that level of production. Like I don't. I've been using the same camera for 3 years, the same setup. And again, the camera that's people see most of the time is this top-down $800 Sony that I got 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
And so there is, yes, people with high production value can win on that level, but you can also win by the value you bring in your content, whether it's educational, inspirational, entertainment. And that's why TikTok creators that only have their phone as their camera can also succeed, because it's really about how valuable is that content.
It's the content.
And it's also,
I hope that stays true.
And it's also the skill set. I mean, I watch the handful of times that I've watched Justine grab a camera or her phone or whatever, her ability to understand where that phone is and what she's framing is otherworldly. Like it's like, like you just sit there and she does these crazy moves and all this stuff, and then it all works out, and I think that is the I think that it really is the tool that you have. I think that the value of what we have here on MacBreak or on Twit in general is the discussion, and a high base level of quality. Like, look at us. I mean, we got mics, that's a crazy thing for a lot of creators. Having actual mics, and
Leafs
and good connections and all these things that I think most people like. If you look at this show today, and compare it to Sunday morning roundtables with the insert studios, we are doing better than they are. Like we are,
that's really true. Every time I put my AirPods on and listen to the Sunday morning TV shows, I go, God, that audio is awful.
A bunch of hard surfaces with labs. I just did a show over the weekend with labs, and I was like, I forgot how much I hate lavaliers. And so labs are part of the problem, but also the insert studios have not been invested in for 15 years.
Right.
And because there's no money in it. And so, and as a result, everybody looks horrible. Like they all the talking heads that are coming in remotely look nasty, like it's and so if you look at where podcasting has come, where Twit has come, and others I think what Twit does is that it does it live, which is very different. To get this quality live is a thing, right? And Office Hours does a reasonably good job at it as well. But we're some of the only ones that do it live. You see a lot of great stuff that people doing podcasts where they recorded it. That's easy, by the way. It's like, no, sorry, I don't mean to say it that way, but it's like, it's a lot easier to do it that way. And I think that, anyway, so I think that there's a lot of different ways that content, as Stephen said, that content has value, and I don't think, and I think that people get into this getting millions of followers. I talk to YouTubers that they wish they hadn't done that because now they got all these followers that only want to have the crazy thing, and they feel kind of boxed in. They feel boxed into what. Even
Mr. Beast feels a little boxed in as he makes $1 billion a year.
He could boil the ocean if he wanted to. Yeah. Like it's just it's. I don't think he needs to. I mean, maybe he would lose. I think Mr. Beast could afford to lose 50 million followers just to realign to do things that he wanted to do. I think there's this thought process of you have to. I mean, maybe that is a smaller
It's a trap.
Thing,
we boiled this ocean, and these 100 people, the last one to leave the ocean gets $500,000.
We're going to give everybody blocks of salt. You get a block of salt, and you get a block, because we're boiling the ocean.
Alex,
we got all this salt everywhere.
Were you surprised when you saw that the new Apple TV logo was shot with practical effects with glass?
Here's the funny thing. I saw it, and I thought how hard that would be to do digitally, and I was like, I wonder if I didn't know, but when I saw it happen, I was like, I don't think that that's a digital, because there was interactions between the transparency planes that I was like, whoa, that's really pretty. I watched it. I remember when I first saw it, I kept on my family had to put up with me.
It's only a second long, right?
I know. I kept on playing it. Yeah, but I kept on playing it over and over again. And the first time I had it, it was like in the middle of something. So I had to like rewind, but not rewind. And I kept on watching it because I was like, that is beautiful. And then I was like, I think that is physical. And I was like, and it sure enough, it is. And it is so beautiful. And,
Apple Insider has a great picture. Actually comes from Ad Age. A great picture of one of the grips cleaning the glass with a rag. They must, they mat out, they garbage mat out the holders and all that stuff. But so in other words, getting that lighting like that would be hard to do in digital.
It's the interaction between the transparency and the layers would be very hard to do and render out well. Wow. It's not impossible, but it would be very difficult. And when you do things physically, there are things that physical items do that it's hard to do digitally. Like I know that when they on Mandalorian, when they started doing the actual, they were doing camera shots of the ship, right? They built a physical model of the ship, and it changed the way, the older ship that was fully digital was no longer sufficient to intercut with the physical one, because there's just so much going on. And so,
John Ashley, go to the Ad Age article.
I didn't know for sure.
Scooter
when I
X
saw
just
it.
put a link in the Discord, because there's a video of them making this so that you can actually see it. It's really kind of amazing. Go ahead and play that video. This is pretty impressive. You don't have to play the music because it's just somebody else's.
Yeah,
music,
the producer actually posted on his Instagram. So yeah,
this is amazing. So
this is what everybody
lights
wants
around
to do.
it, and
so there's the reflections, there's and then how the highlights happen across the. One of the things that's really hard to do well are those little highlights that go across the edges. Digital doesn't often do that as well, but if you look at how those are interacting, it's
amazing. And they got Phineas, Billie Eilish's brother and producer, to do the music for it. They must have spent a lot of money.
I mean, it's like the amount of money you put into a logo. This is what everybody's going to see 100 times a day.
I heard that they had to miss their rent payment for the Apple Park because of the
No, they didn't. No.
Yeah. That's the best part is Apple can afford to do it. Why not? But
it's so great. It's like I read an article just last week or two about why car companies still use clay models for cars because yes, they can do amazing renders in CAD, like from their models, but the thing is, at some point you need to be able to walk around it and see how those curves interact in a very real way and see how the light plays off of all of these edges. And they've never found any system that works better than that, not even Vision Pro.
Isn't that encouraging that the real world survives even in this AI driven digital
it's more
age?
It's more encouraging that there are people who realize that they're focused on what is the best solution to this problem that we're facing, as opposed to why are we still, as opposed to like the new CEO comes in and says, will you believe that they're still using old fashioned, why are we spending millions of dollars on clay models when we can all do it with the computer and with the AI? And like, no, actually we do it this way because it's actually the better way of doing it. But I absolutely love this because I still remember being one of those snotty kids who loves movies and loves special effects and read Cinefex every month, and was like, oh well, I can see that James Cameron. I bet he's a fan of the VistaVision live action plates, so I bet he did a composite onto of this, that, and the other. And then when you find out that no, Andy, you read Cinefex, like, no, Andy, the way they got that effect is that Linda Hamilton has an identical twin sister, so they just simply paid the twin sister to get really, really buff to play the part of the T2. And that's when I realized that from now on, I will never, ever, ever pretend that I know how any special effect was done, because it is such an amazing skill set and mindset of making these things happen.
It is. I honor all those below the line people who do so much to make movies great. My favorite story is from 1939. The transition in The Wizard of Oz when it goes from black and white to color. Right? You would think, oh, they just switched from black and white film stock to color. No. Dorothy, the house, it's all shot in color, but they made it black and white. They made her dress black and white. They used a stand-in for Dorothy. She goes up to the door, then Judy Garland jumps into the shot as it goes into color, and she's wearing the color dress. It was all shot in color.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
There's some books on special effects techniques. They're the simplest damn things that you don't. But the thing is, it's not just the technique that they used; it's how they directed the shot so that you don't notice that. Wow, but how if when Fred Astaire throws the can on the floor and then it leaps back to us? That's impossible. They couldn't have used wires. And then you have to on the 8th viewing. Oh wait, there's a little bit of a camera move where he dances away from it just long enough for someone to grab it off the floor and replace it with a trick one. Oh, that was just good storytelling. It wasn't necessarily amazing special effects.
And when the one that a lot of us always go back to is in Contact, when she runs down the hall when her father is having a heart attack, and the hall feels like it's stretching, and then she gets to the window and you see her, and then it opens up, but it's not. There's that visual effect shot is probably, from a physical perspective, one of the most complex shots that a lot of us know of. Yeah.
I feel bad for you, Alex, because you know how these things are done, and so the magic is a little bit lost for you.
I would say it's not as I don't know it as well. It's changed a lot. And I think that right when I was doing a lot of heavy visual effects, we were kind of in this happy medium in the early aughts, right? So between 1995 and 2005. We had this mixture of, we'll do it physically if it makes sense to do physically. We'll do digital, if it makes sense to go digital, and we'll mix and match those. If you look at a shot when the Black Pearl goes into the water, there is a 12-foot black pearl, a full-size beach, digital crabs, and a amphibious unit running into the water to create the splashes for the thing, and so a real person in the foreground that it crosses past their head or whatever. So there was this kind of happy medium of all, like, let's use everything for what it's good for and not try to overuse it. And then we went digital, after somewhere in the late aughts, we started just going, we'll just do it all digitally. I don't want to deal with, people didn't want to deal with that. And then it just felt very empty because the physics isn't correct, the lighting isn't correct, the edges aren't correct. All these things were not fully featured, not fully fleshed out. And I think now we're kind of moving back towards the middle, where you have the Christopher Nolan's and others that are like, it's not that they're not using digital effects, but when they use them, they're spending enough money to do it right, or they're having it just extend physical things. They claim there's no visual effects, which is total BS, but they are finding that middle and forcing it to be great. But again, being able to do it physically, there's something about the organic unknown nature of it as well. It'll do things on the edges, and it'll do things because the rendering system for what we call reality is so advanced. And so it has so many variables. It does a great job.
We're going to take a little break, come back with lots more. You're watching MacBreak Leafy with Andy. Leave Andy alone, they're saying. Andy Anako in the wilderness. I love this shot. Now it looks like the woods are behind you, and the witch will be emerging any minute now. So just be careful, okay? Oh, he's muted. Say again?
I just thought it would be a good time to recite some Robert Frost. In winter in the woods alone against the trees I go, I mark a maple as my own and lay that maple low. At 4 o'clock I shoulder axe, and in the afterglow I link a line of shadowy tracks across the tinted snow. I see in nature no defeat in one tree's overthrow, nor in myself as I retreat for yet another blow.
The original New Englander, Andy Anatko in the woods. Thank you, Andrew. Alex Lindsay's also here from Office Hours Global, and filling in for Jason Snell, the wonderful bearded tutor, Stephen Robles. It's great to have all three of you. Our show today brought to you by Melissa, the trusted data quality expert. They've been doing it longer than we have, since 1985. Recognized by G2 as leaders in both data quality suite and global address verification. Melissa's trusted by businesses worldwide. Melissa helps them eliminate costly errors, boost efficiency, and drive growth. I mean, there's nothing more costly than having the wrong address for a customer or a client. Another important thing Melissa does, pipeline safety, one of those things that often goes unnoticed until something goes wrong. The Paradigm Alliance exists. Now, I know this is from left field, but let me explain. The Paradigm Alliance exists to prevent incidents with pipelines by keeping communities informed and pipeline operators compliant. So I think if you think about it, you realize the vital necessity of accurate data for Paradigm Alliance. When there's an emergency, they need to find and reach the right people fast. With Melissa, Paradigm gained an extension of its team with faster access, more intelligent decisions. The president of the Paradigm Alliance says, quote, Melissa's team doesn't just provide data, they provide solutions tailored to our unique challenges. Imagine, the issues if you're trying to notify people about a pipeline emergency and your address data is out of date. Now, of course, address verification is the foundation of Melissa's services. They're more than that. They're data scientists. Melissa's data enrichment services go far beyond just simple verification. Organizations like the Paradigm Alliance can build a more comprehensive and accurate view of their business processes by using Melissa as part of their data management strategy. I'll give you another really good example, health, right? The Parkinson's Institute and Clinical Center has amassed an invaluable collection of clinical data over the last 30 years, unmatched anywhere in the world. The relationship between Melissa and PICC, the Parkinson's Institute and Clinical Center, opened up some really interesting, very transformative use cases. They were able to use, again, Melissa's more than address verification. They're data scientists. They helped get improved understanding of how genes, proteins, and treatments impact Parkinson's disease. They helped them with earlier identification of candidates for clinical trials or alternative treatments. And of course, secure and highly remunerative data sharing with collaborators. PIC's CEO says, Melissa, this is a quote, Melissa has made it possible for us to transform our complex and diverse data into a unified, research-ready knowledge resource. That's good for PIC. It's good for all of us. Data is safe, compliant, and secure with Melissa. Melissa's solutions and services are GDPR and CCPA compliant. They're ISO 27001 certified. They meet SOC 2 standards. And of course, from PIC's point of view, very important, they also meet HIPAA high trust standards for information security management. Security's job one at Melissa. Get started today with 1,000 records cleaned for free at melissa.com/twit. 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 We thank them so much for their support of MacBreak Weekly and for the important work they do. So Apple on Friday debuted a brand new show. There was a lot of attention because it came from Vince Gilligan, the man who created Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. There was a lot of, I think Apple did a really good job, and Gilligan did a very good job of teasing this without actually telling people what it's about. So there was a lot of interest, so much so that Apple TV went down beginning around 9 o'clock Eastern on Friday. Not a big deal.
Not ideal.
Not ideal.
That's a lot, by the way. If Apple goes down, the numbers are.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I didn't have any problem, but I watched the next day. Reports peaked into the tens of thousands. Apple acknowledged widespread disruptions to video delivery, as well as Apple Music and other services. They fixed it by November 7th. That's a good sign. The first Apple show to get 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think the reviews are very positive.
Yeah, the Guardian had 4 out of 5. The London Times 5 out of 5. The genre-based reviews were all like ecstatic. New York Times was. They don't have a star system, but that too was like effusive. It was great. I saw. I've only seen like most of the first episode because at some point it just got I got so creeped out and was late at night that I was like, I'm just going to give this a pause. I'm going to come back to it after I have a little bit of recovery time because there's no spoilers whatsoever, but there's some intensity that maybe I wasn't 100% ready for at that time.
So we didn't know. All we knew was the tagline. What was it?
No, I still don't know anything. So I'm going to hold the space of.
Yeah,
no.
exactly.
Oh, don't worry. We're not.
Exactly.
I won't do. I won't do anything.
I want to see it. I just haven't had time.
They were really smart about how they promoted it to drive interest without telling anybody much about it at all. In fact, when I started watching, I thought this isn't what is this? And it's great. If you like sci-fi, it's great. I have a feeling it's going to break bad, if you will. But we'll see.
Everything's going to go horribly wrong. Yeah.
The only 2 episodes have come out. Rhea Seehorn, who was, of course, one of the stars of Better Call Saul, is brilliant in it.
I think Apple really has taken the place of where HBO used to be.
It's very clear now they are the prestige network, aren't they?
Yeah, and again, they're throwing so much money at things and then giving the creators what we didn't think was going to happen. And what all the rumors were is that the creators aren't getting control. They're being told what to do by Apple. And there might have been some of that at the very beginning. But at this point, creators are like, here's a big bag of money. Go make something great. And being kind of let go to run down that path and then being given all the advantages. And I still think that that's also where, Apple has an enormous amount of potential energy. I mean, all the things around what could be done with the headset, what could be done with alternative, all these other things. Apple hasn't even started leveraging that for these kinds of shows. But it really is. When you look at the number of great, it takes me a little while sometimes to get into it, but I'm in the middle of Last Frontier. I just finished, the last Slow Horses.
I wish there were Slow Horses Every day.
Every day.
Slow Horses. God, is that a good show? It's amazing. Yeah.
Back to the special effects thing too. I saw a tweet where, no, this is not a spoiler, but there's a scene that shows Air Force One in Pluribus. And you could see that Apple actually built the model in the middle and then used CG to extend it. And Patrick Tomaso, who tweeted that image, he was like, this is why AI will never win, because real models plus computers will always look better than fully digital created scenes.
In fact, Gilligan says we are not using AI in any way in Pluribus.
It's interesting. I think at the end of it, it says made by humans. Like it's Apple
really,
literally
that's a big deal. Yeah,
goes the other direction, and I think that, but that's also a great play from Apple's perspective towards the creative market. So you've got all these companies that are spending millions and millions of dollars trying to figure out how to replace everybody that works on a film, and Apple is saying, "Hey, we're going the other direction," and it sets them up to get the best talent that want to do something with Apple as opposed to others. And that, again, this makes it. You start tying up all that high-end talent, and you end up with there are 3 or 4 bankable directors left. There's Nolan, there's Cameron, there's and there's maybe 3 or 4 that if they do a movie, there's a pretty good chance that they're going to make the money back, but not many. And then after that, you have all these people that want to do stuff for Apple. And that what it does is it doesn't leave a lot of oxygen for everybody else to build prestige shows. That's the thing that makes it really challenging.
I love it that it's really tiny at the end of the credits, but it's the last thing that scrolls by made by humans in Albuquerque, by the way. He lives in Albuquerque now. I mean, I guess we talked about that last week. They got a big tax break initially, and that now he's got everything. Well,
Albuquerque was really good at getting the tax break and then leveraging it into infrastructure, so that there's enough infrastructure there to do almost anything.
Yeah. So somebody in the chat room says, I want Alex to explain why the show is shot the way it's shot. I didn't even notice.
I haven't seen it yet.
So you didn't watch anything?
I haven't watched anything yet. I felt like I really need to sit down and watch it. Like it's like
I think you have to. In fact, I felt like this was an assignment before today that I had to, because I knew people were going to want to know about it.
I had to shoot over the weekend.
It's worth it
to work.
And to what Andy was saying, I don't like super creepy stuff. And so as I was going through episode 1, it got towards the middle, and I was like, I'm gonna have to punch out. Like I'm gonna have a
really. Yeah, I gotta say, it wasn't that it was super creepy. It was that they did such, again, no spoilers whatsoever, but they did such a good job of not glossing over how if you were in this situation that the protagonist finds herself in, how very intense and very real that situation would have been.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. And that's, credit to Rhea Seehorn for embodying that,
She's incredible. And I'll just say, make it through episode 2, because it's not the same.
I'm going to get to the whole thing. I just had,
it's great.
Well, that's all you get. And that kind of bugs me. Apple doesn't do binge watching. In fact, usually in the past, they've done 3 episodes. They only did 2 to launch it. I guess that 2 was enough. I'm hooked.
It was enough, yeah.
I know where I'll be Friday.
All I'm saying is, if you've been tempted by the really, really awful reviews of the new Kim Kardashian show on Hulu to say, "Oh, I've got to watch it because it's going to be so bad," please don't, because I have watched the first episode of that. Your time is so much better spent, and
I wanted to watch it for that very reason. I wanted to mock her. You saying it's not even worth doing that?
I'm saying that I just felt so sad about my life that I'm watching this. I know I'm encouraging you to watch it, but it's just that every single line, even maybe as a professional writer, I'm like, I can't believe that you saw those words appearing on your screen as you were typing them, and you did not hit Command A and then delete. Each line is just so poisonously badly written, and that's to say nothing of the fact that every shot is like an ad for a $18 million wristwatch. I can't. There's no opportunity to miss to say, by the way, the last 40 years of the economy of the world have been engineered specifically to make sure that middle-income people can't afford to feed their kids, so that people exactly like these lawyers can say, hey, I kind of want a Knish. Let's take our private jet filled with jewels and fly to New York to get a good Knish. Great, but I have to change into my $80 million jumpsuit in order. Anyway, it's real. Go to Apple TV. There's Vince Gilligan has a wonderful show for you. Again, like I wish we could. I'm so looking forward to having really great conversations about this show with everybody after people have actually seen it. I actually had an incident this morning during when I was out getting breakfast that was like, oh, this is such a good thing to talk about in relation to the show, but I can't because I don't want to even say. All I can say is that, like, if you put on a wristwatch in the morning and no, I don't even want to give, because I hate it when people think that they're giving you a safe spoiler, but they're actually just like, now I know that there's a twist at the end of Act 3. I know. Thank you for not telling me what the twist is, but now I'm going to be doing nothing but evaluating what in the first 30 minutes of the show is now. There's no
twist.
Applicable.
No. There's no twist.
That's what I'm saying. There isn't. I'm saying that's why I'm being so circumspect and saying I don't want to say anything about this except for it's really, really great.
Yeah.
Well, I will say that, Apple gives everybody the freedom. My family, I haven't seen it, but my family has roundly, all three of them sat down to watch Highest to Lowest and said it was literally the worst thing they had seen in years. So I don't know.
See, that makes me want to watch it.
And
I mean,
they all signed up. They all watched it because Denzel Washington is in it, and they all we're all big.
It's
fans
so
of Denzel
sad
Washington.
the quality of the people in this show.
And they were like, as soon as you see Denzel Washington, it's amazing, and the rest of it is horrible. Like just and I kept on going. Oh, I got to get around to watching because it's got Denzel Washington, and they were like, no. While you were gone, we watched it, and they literally got like a quarter of the way through and was just like, no. But I think that points more towards Apple willing to take the risk of, we're going to let people do what they're going to do, and more than they could have. It sounds like they could have killed it. Like they could have just said, this one didn't work out. But I think that worked out better. So
that's Hulu. Hulu doesn't kill anything. Believe me.
Vince, I want to be honest with you. When we greenlit this show, we really thought we'd see like some Los Pollos Hermanos in jokes or anything like that. There's nothing like that in the first episode, sir. And I don't know. We're gonna let you do what you're gonna do. But we kind of thought that could Giancarlo come in and just play a guy in a yellow shirt that comes by? No, this is absolutely exactly 100% a Vince Gilligan jam, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, and he has a style that is fairly recognizable. I mean, I think you will look at it and go, "Oh, Vince Gilligan."
Quality.
Yeah. But also, there's certain things he does. He likes close-ups of odd, mundane items and things. They're just in odd angles, and I really love him as his style. So it'll be fun to get your take on it, Alex. Next week, you have an assignment, dude.
Done.
2 shows. That's all. That's all you got to do.
We will, and Jason will be back so we can borrow his spoiler horn from the incomparable. I just will say, okay, spoiler horn. Skip ahead to the next podcast chapter mark generated by Apple Intelligence if you don't want to hear anything about.
There it is.
Is that anything like his spoiler horn?
Kind of like it. Good enough.
Does it get the job done? Let's see what else. Apple has acquired, and I guess this is something important. The manuscript "Fallen Astronaut," important enough that Deadline has the story.
Yeah, I put it in there because it's interesting. Number one, they were so hot about this that it was one of those things where we want the movie rights, the video rights before this can go to auctions. We're going to put in a preemptive high bid for this book that's not been published yet.
Paid close to $1 million for the rights.
Yes.
Well, and also
and supposedly it also has like part of the story involves virtual reality. So you're wondering, is this going to be something that can either be a really good showcase for Vision Pro, or is it just that maybe we can turn this into a Vision Pro movie, or we can have like that flashing little thing at the bottom like they used to have in the horror movies. Put on your $3,500 3D glasses now.
Yeah, I actually think that they're going to turn that into a Vision Pro movie. I think that this may.
That's why they rushed.
I think this has the potential of being the first like Vision Pro feature, where you're talking, like a full length feature or at least an hour length feature that has all the money, like that is required to make it. I think Apple, is definitely hungry to show that this is a feature level headset that you could really do things and do it in 180 degrees. So I wouldn't be surprised if this one turns out to be, 3 years from now or 4 years from now on the next generation of the headset that's faster and even better. This might be the thing that they try to show it.
It sounds like, Deadline says it's billed as gravity meets A Few Good Men. You can't handle this space. I don't know. The production will be helmed by 1201 Films, Scott Glassgold's 1201 Films. I'm not familiar with them. Are they known for their 3D productions? I don't know.
I don't think it would have to be. I mean, a lot of times, for better or worse, a lot of times the traditional directors will take a crack at immersive. The really challenge is that traditional directors have a hard time getting their head around what works and doesn't work in VR, and so they do a lot of things that don't work in VR, and so that's the challenge. But I think Apple has now done enough that they have a pretty good chance of being able to show someone and give them the experience, so it helps them educate the filmmakers a little bit more effectively.
Yeah. Gurman has a kind of concerning report that the future of Apple Fitness Plus is under review. He says it's not made hardly any money. It's one of the company's weakest digital offerings, high churn, little revenue, and that Apple is perhaps considering cutting it. That would be disappointing.
I doubt they would, only because there's enough people to do it. Apple's not really a quitter, right. And so I think they're still recovering from
Ping. Remember
Ping? Ping, but Ping didn't get very far before they killed it. And the last thing that I think really and Apple usually gives you a lot of warning if they are. The problem, because I play with Apple Fitness a little bit, and the problem really is that the format of it is hard. To kind of sometimes it really is a pre-built workout, and it's not as random. I don't feel like it's as randomly organized as something that you could do. I worked on another project with Adidas where they, I think it was called My Fitness or Me Fitness, and what was cool about it was it designed it for you. Like it designed the whole workout for you, and it kept on changing it, and it kept on.
This is more the Peloton model where you get your machine or your equipment, and then you watch a 30-minute or 45-minute.
Well, I want you to do it with
a leader, and then there's some other people doing this.
There's a real opportunity, I think, though, and it's like P90X or whatever, kind of.
Yeah, I do it. I got rid of my Peloton subscription and just use it on the Peloton bike because it's cheaper. And I
feel like I don't know.
They're not as good as the Peloton instructors. That's part of the problem. Is the instructors are a little too.
My wife actually uses it pretty regularly, and she enjoys it. The one thing is she came from a Beachbody thing. And there you have like 100-day program. And so you just open the app.
90 days to be technical. Not that I haven't.
I did it. Well, there's
you must have a beach body, Alex. That's good.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
I did.
My wife did it, admittedly. But she liked that she would just open the app on Apple TV and her next workout was like right there. She didn't have to think about what to do next.
And it ties to the watch. So you've got all the metrics on the screen, which I like, the burn bar and all of that.
It would be nice if Fitness Plus had that kind of, if you want a 100-day plan.
Oh, I see.
Sign up for this, and then every day when you open the app, you don't have to think about what you're choosing, what trainer you want to choose. You just press play.
And the other problem is that cardio is not particularly effective. So the issue is that a lot of these go towards cardio because it's easy to do something around cardio. But if you really want to lose weight and you really want to get in good shape and everything else, resistance training is really important. And so the problem the issue is all the resistance tools are complicated, and there's some HIIT stuff and there's other things that are there. But I think that, the thing that I think about when I work out all the time is wanting something that integrates with the equipment and figuring out some way to create kind of like an Apple Home is not a good example, but because it hasn't been very successful, but building something that, if you partnered with someone, if you partnered with Bowflex, because Bowflex is the biggest one out there. I have what's called a Revolution, which they discontinued because it's complicated, but it's got these 2 bars, and all what you want to do is put motors on them and basically have it go, I know what you did the last time, and I'm going to tell you, you need to get 1 more rep in this time, right?
Yeah.
And when you do it, I'm going to do all that work, because
it's basically a personal trainer in a box is what you want.
Yeah, and I think that would be explosive. Like, it is like if you had it where it said, and you could put those sensors into this, like when you use the Bowflex dumbbells, you turn the dials and it grabs different weights.
Right.
It could easily know what that is, and it could also tell you, you could get down to the point where it told you whether your form's good or not, because it can tell whether you're swinging and whether you're doing all the other things that are there. But if it was able to do that, and then you were able to, it's constantly, the problem is that there's, now some people will say muscle confusion isn't a thing, but I think it is. Like, you have to be hitting the muscles slightly differently all the time. But the problem is no one does that because it's too complicated, unless you're really committed to work. When I worked out in high school, I was pretty, 2.5 hours a day. And I was, and my workouts were constantly changing. Like, there was all these grids of how I did everything. And I think that it could take all that complexity away, and you could have some dumbbells and a little machine and everything else. And it's constantly pushing you through that workout, knowing a lot about you. And it's in a way that I don't know if I would want other people to know, but it would know, it has your heart rate. It has, it would have your movements. It would have what you did the last time. And I think that is the missing piece for fitness. And I think that we would have to, that's, if they figured that, if they cracked that problem, I think it would blow up. But I think that more and more cardio or people, doing this stuff, I don't know if that'll ever, there's a lot of things out there, and then that's the easier thing to do. This is the hard thing, and Apple usually exceeds at doing the hard thing as long as they don't have to partner with too many people.
I'm curious about that churn rate, because I have an Apple One subscription, and Fitness Plus is just in there, so I'm not going to stop paying for Fitness Plus because it's in that. I'm curious how most people actually do this. Is it like individually people do Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, and then Fitness Plus? Or more people sign up through that, like Apple One subscription. So I don't know. I find that churn curious.
Yeah, it's $10 for Fitness Plus all by itself. It
seems high.
Yeah,
I would have. I will admit, if it wasn't part of my Apple larger.
Yeah, I have Apple One. Right,
I have Apple One. As an individual thing, I definitely would have canceled it. Like, I don't think I would have used it enough to do it. But as part of Apple One,
it seems like Apple's missing a bet here. Because people have the watch, which is a sensor, that they could do more customized plans.
I think that if they really broke into it and looked at and again, I wouldn't partner with everyone. I would just partner. The only one that really matters is Bowflex. They own everything. They own all the pieces that you need. So you do it with the problem is they'll get into a conversation and go, well, we have to include these Peloton or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
If you just partner with Bowflex, they have all the tools. Make it all work with Bowflex. Get it all running, and then expand to other people if they want to play. But Apple sometimes tries to make it too much of an open field, and then nothing happens, like Apple Home, which is just a disaster.
According to B&H, the HomePod Mini is discontinued. They're listing all HomePod Mini models as discontinued, no longer offering them for sale. B&H is a big retailer. It could be a mistake, but others are doing the same. Or it could be we've got a new one coming, right?
Yeah, that's been rumored for a little bit, especially that they might be coming in during the holiday buying season, which is the perfect time for a cheap home mini to actually go on sale. It's way overdue for refresh. It's if you had any indication of how little Apple might care about this particular product, it's how old the chips are in this thing. And the most interesting thing about the rumors about the refresh is not necessarily that, okay, well, now the Wi-Fi Bluetooth chip is going to be Apple's own N1 chip. It's the idea of we need a more up-to-date neural processor to handle what's we hope to be able to announce next year with Shlomo, so that this device is going to need a lot more neural processing than the George W. Bush era hardware that we've got in there right now.
I wonder whether they look at I'm sure Apple has some kind of usage numbers. Maybe not. They're pretty private. But when I look at it, I bought all of these at some point, and the HomePod is used in my house, at least, the original HomePod is being in some version of usage 6 to 8 hours a day. Like it is a constant. It's playing music. It's doing timers. It's just constantly running.
Are you mining Bitcoin with it or something?
No.
That original HomePod is so slow. I have no idea how you're still using it. Just for context, the HomePod Mini is still using the S5 chip, which was an Apple Watch chip.
All it does is play music. It doesn't do anything other than play music and do timers and
it's so bad at that though. Like the only reason I know is because my kids have. I don't know if this is going to sound weird or not, but we have HomePods in our like bathrooms, HomePod Minis to play music. And so they'll want to like play music when they take a shower or whatever. And like they shout at the dingus, the assistant, to play something. And like 9 times out of 10, it just cannot get it.
I don't know what doing. The shower is, I'm amazed that at least in my house, the music's playing full blast and someone says, hey, Shlomo, stop. And it just stops. And I'm just like, how does it even do that? Like, I don't like it is. And they wrote a paper about it. So I kind of know how it does it. But it's kind of an amazing thing. And again, it just sits in the corner between my June and my hot water. And that's, and it just is constantly working. The HomePod minis are in a shelf somewhere. Like I put them in a box. Like they're so useless. Like I found them to be so difficult. To your point, I found the HomePod minis to be so squirrely as far as when they turn on, when they wouldn't turn on, what they would do, and everything else. I found them completely useless, and I put them they're in some box somewhere on some shelf. So the HomePod, the original HomePod, I use all the time. The HomePod minis I found to be just a waste of money.
And you never got the HomePod 2? Because that original HomePod is slow.
I wanted to, it was one of those things like I didn't get around to it. I think it's discontinued now. Like it was one of those things I just was like, well, this one still works. I've not had any. Literally, it's been running busy. Every once in a while, I have to go over and tap it because it's like not listening to you or something. But it's like, that's like once a month. You're like, hey,
hey,
stop,
hey.
So.
All right, we're going to take a little break. Final break. Your picks of the week, gentlemen. If you would prepare them, I would be grateful. You're watching MacBreak Leafy with Andy and Akko in the snow. Andy, your voice is getting a little gravelly. I'm worried you're going to get pneumonia. We're going to wrap this up here.
Yeah, thank you. The thing is, like, the wind is picking up and the wind chill factor is now actually in the 20s.
You're like a CNN reporter getting ready for a major weather event.
Let's make this a complete New England jam. I am the Shelby Scott of this panel. Okay. Shelby Scott, the WBZ legendary local reporter who would be sent out in the middle of the blizzard to stand to do the remote. Because why does she do it? Because she's Shelby damn Scott.
I'm standing in the middle of a hurricane, wondering how I got here. I'm glad you're here, Mr. MacLeafy. Also here, Alex Lindsay from OfficeHours.global. And filling in for the Jason Snell, it's Mr. Stephen Robles. You'll find him at beard.fm, and you'll find the MacBreak Leafy t-shirts at beardfm.shop.store.
If you go to beard.fm, just click merch. You'll find
merch. And thousands already sold. So hurry before they sell out. No, I'm just making it up. I don't
Ironically,
know. Thousands. Can confirm.
Ironically, we're going to have to deforest like nature in order to get all the resources we're going to need in order to.
They're made with leaves. It's a new technology. It's exciting.
Free range, organic.
Our show today brought to you by the most important people in the world, our Club Twit members. Without them, poor Andy and Akko would have to broadcast outdoors. Wait a minute. Without our club members, we wouldn't be able to pay the light bill. That's true. 25% of our operating costs are paid by Club Twit members like you. So I just want to thank you. You guys make a huge difference. And if you're not in the club yet, I'd love to invite you to join. $10 a month gets you ad-free versions of all the shows. As we were talking about earlier, it's really important down the road for the future of independent podcasting and our future that people who listen to these shows support them. That's really how they're going to survive. We try to make it worthwhile, not just ad-free versions of the shows. You get our access to our Club Twit Discord, which is a great place to hang, not just during the shows, but all the time, talking about all the things geeks care about. We also do special programming in the Club Twit Discord that you can't see anywhere else. We did our AI user group on Friday. I had to miss it, unfortunately, but Very interesting. As always, it's the first Friday of every month. Stacy's Book Club is coming up. We've got the photo. This Friday, we're going to do our Chris Marquardt's photo show. Balanced is the assignment. We'll find some balanced photos. Monday, we resume our Horror in the Cornfield Dungeons and Dragons adventure. We're about halfway through. Join our Dungeon Master, Micah Sargent, with Paul Thurrott, Paris Martineau, Jonathan Bennett from the Untitled Linux Show, Jacob Ward, and me as Sag Bottom the Cheerful, your bard, as we attempt to get out of the corn maze. That'll be Monday, November 17th, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2200 UTC. We love having the club members in there. In fact, I think the next time we're going to have some club members in the dungeon with us, which should be a lot of fun. Home Theater Geeks is doing its chat room Q&A next Wednesday. So is Micah's Crafting Corner. That'll be next Wednesday. These are all things we do because we love you. We love the club, and we love hanging out with the club. And you give us the opportunity to do it. So if you're not a member, find out more at twit.tv/clubtwit. There's a 2-week free trial. There's a coupon in there right now for the holidays, whether to give it to yourself as a gift or somebody you care a lot about, the geek in your life. 10% off with the yearly membership. We also have corporate memberships and family plans. Find out more at twit.tv/clubtwit. So thank you. Thank you to all our Club Twit members, and welcome to our new members. Go on, let's get you in the club. Andy, we're going to start with you so we can get you out of the cold. Andy Anako's pick of the week.
Yeah, actually, my pick of the week. I have 2 picks of the week. The first is actually Club Twit. Because yes, it's nice to earn some money this week, but I was so determined, even if I have to just at 10 minutes after, 15 minutes after the start of the show, after realizing that, no, this problem is not going to get fixed anytime in the next half hour, I'm going to throw my laptop in the bag. I'm going to throw my microphone in the bag. I'm going to throw my biggest battery bank in the bag. And at least if I'm not on the show this week, it's because I tried almost literally everything short of just dialing a phone number and calling in. And the reason why is that this is such a great show. I look forward to it every single week. And I look forward to the reactions from all the people who watch and listen to the show. And it's I don't want to lose this chance to hang out with my friends, both in this chat and in the larger community. Yay. So thank you all of you who contribute and help support us through Club Twit, because this is the reasons why we do the things that we do, because this is such a wonderful space. Leo, no small thanks to you and the environment you create, but this is the reason why it would be so easy for me to stay home and just say, you know what, I'm taking the week off, I'm chilling out. But it was not preferable to sitting out here in the encroaching darkness and 20-degree wind chill, and enjoying it as leaves continue to dramatically fall onto my MacBook Pro. So thank you very much for your support. My second peak.
I appreciate your dedication. Thank you, Andy. I really appreciate it.
And my second peak is central heating, which I hope to be experiencing 10 minutes from now. Thank you, everybody, very much. Love you all. Goodbye.
Take care, Andrew. Go get warm. Stephen Robles filling in for Jason Snell this week. What's your pick?
Well, I'll do 2 picks as well. My first pick is podcasting.
Yay!
RSS, open and free. Keep it going. Podcasting.
I agree.
And number 2 is actually an app that I call, it's Food Noms. Food Noms is the app. And I've tried several different food tracking apps over the years, and none of them just really clicked with my mind. And I've been using Food Noms for the last 4 or 5 months. I've lost a bunch of weight doing it. It's actually stayed on track, helping me, actually track what I'm eating. It's incredible. It was updated with iOS 26. It's beautifully designed. It supports a bunch of shortcuts. It has widgets where you can log your favorite foods and recurring things quickly right from the home screen, or I do it from the Today view. And it also has this AI built in where you can take a picture of whatever you're eating. Yeah, take a picture.
Is it pretty good? Is it accurate?
It's really good, actually. I've compared it with what I actually know is calorie wise and done the Food Noms AI. And what's great is you can not only take the picture, but actually type context. And you could say, I'm eating a bowl. It has rice, chicken, pickled onions, whatever. And even say where it's from. You could say, I'm eating a Chipotle bowl with this and that. And it's very good. And it will actually break out the ingredients. The AI adds it all, tallies it up. You can add it. And I love that it syncs with Apple Health. So as you are actually doing things during the day, you move minutes, whatever. If you do a workout, Food Noms, if you're trying to be in a calorie deficit, it will automatically adjust your total calories for the day. So if you do a big workout, you're going to get more calories. You're going to see that immediately reflected in the app. It's beautifully designed. It works great. It's the first one that I've stuck with. It earned a spot on my home screen. Like, it is right in the dock, and I use it every day, multiple times a day, and it's great. So Food Noms, I highly recommend.
I am going to try it. I've been using Chronometer, but I really would like something that I can. The whole thing about food logging is the pain in the butt to enter it. And I would like something I could take a picture and get something accurate out of it. Would be really cool. So I'm going to try.
The picture and the AI is key, and then you can also, create recipes or meals. And so my wife, who does a lot of recipes, she'll create the recipe in Food Noms, saves it to her Food Noms library, and then she can airdrop me that recipe so I can track the same thing. And so it has all the features you want. Again, I think the design is top notch, really quick to see, am I in a deficit, how many calories I got left, whatever macros are important to you, even water, you can do all of it in there. Food Noms, highly recommend.
Yeah, and when you search for it, you'll search for Food Noms, but it'll come up as Nutrition Tracker : Food Noms. Look for the orange icon. That's probably the easiest way to find it. Yeah, I just downloaded it. I'm going to give it a try because I do log. My pick of the week is Ozempic, but that's for another day. You have to get a doctor to write you a prescription, but that's been very helpful. Also, I'm a big fan. I'm a type 2 diabetic, so and I'm on Medicare, but Medicare covers it for type 2 diabetics, and it has gotten my A1C, which if you're a diabetic, that's your measure of blood glucose. And it measures your last 90 days. It's a pretty accurate way without a finger stick. And my blood glucose had hit 8.4, which is way too high. It's dangerously high. And I said, I got to do something. I asked my doctor. He said, would you be willing to try Ozempic? I said, well, yeah. And it's down to after I think 6 months, it's down to 5.2, which is normal. And I've lost about 30 pounds. So ask your doctor. Don't buy it. Don't get it online. Don't get it just because you want to lose 5 pounds. But especially if you're a type 2 diabetic, it's a pretty amazing drug. But that in conjunction with Food Noms is what I'm saying. Because you really do have to kind of keep track of all that stuff too. Alex Lindsay, your pick of the week.
So my daughter is 16 and she plays in a bunch of bands, but she also loves to go see live music. And so she drags me to these bands and I don't know anything about them. I just show up. I'm the muscle.
The muscle.
I'm the muscle that pays for the shirt and the poster and the tickets. And so anyway, to go hang out. And we went to see this band that I had no expectation to, I was like, oh, it will be enjoyable. I'm hanging out with my daughter. It's not really the kind of music I would listen to normally. What a live show. Like just an incredible live show. And it's a band called the Ohos.
Oh, hello.
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 And so they are playing tonight in Dallas and tomorrow in a couple days in Houston and then a couple days in Austin. I think they're from Austin. This may be their last tour. That's the rumor. That's why we went to see them instead of Axe and the Hatchet Men, which were very high up. And they're both playing the same night, only about 8 blocks apart. And we had to make a decision about it because I love Axe and the Hatchet Men. And so anyway, worth checking out. There's a Tiny Desk that they did quite some time ago, but it's really hard. I mean, what I will say is that they're really good, and listening to them is really good. If you are in Dallas, Houston, or Austin, run not walk. Like it is. You will listen to the music and you will not understand how full the music is, and because they're very vertical, it's kind of this weird Celtic bluegrass rock and roll kind of thing with like 12 people up there and I was just blown away at and what I was amazed by is how often there are just so many bands like this that I've never heard of that are doing great music every night somewhere in the world. Like it just, and I work on concerts, the concerts is what I do. And so I feel like going there every once in a while, and they're not all, I don't feel that way all the time, but here, this was a really good one. So if you get a chance, this is what they look like on. This is what they look like on stage. And there's a lot of the audience have these little head things on, and
they're wearing garlands in their hair.
And a lot of people in the audience do, and a lot of the audience knows all the words, and it's and just really exceptional. And even my phone can't capture it. Like it was just. I was really kind of blown away by the live experience there. So if you're in Texas, think about it hard about whether you want to go out and spend an evening. If you don't like it, I was going to say I'll buy your ticket, but I won't.
But you have to go to Austin. That's the only drawback.
Well, Dallas, Houston, or Austin, if you're in that area. But other's, check them out.
There's great live music in Austin. It's kind of amazing. Well, there's so many good bands.
I guess I feel like there's great, like, I will admit, having a daughter that's willing to let me go to concerts with her has reopened my eyes to how many great bands there are.
Is she in Texas now?
No. They played in San Francisco last Thursday. So we went. We saw them in the Fillmore. So
fun.
But they were playing the Fillmore. Axe and the Hatchet Men, who was an incredible band to watch, was playing at the Independent. We were trying to, as a former music director, I was like, let's watch the beginning of the first one and let's watch the back end of the second one. And she was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Because I used to see 2 or 3 bands a night. Like that was kind of my, like, I just bounce around. And these are the cool thing about these going to shows that have less than 1,000 people is the tickets are relatively normal, $20-$30. They're not like these $300 $500 tickets, and so you can kind of bounce around and see these little bands, and it's anyway, I would highly recommend also just looking at your local in San Francisco. At least there's probably a great concert, probably 2 or 3 great concerts every night somewhere.
Yeah, it's true. It's really true. And there's so many talented musicians who don't have record labels, don't have YouTube channels, don't have
Spotify
hard,
channels. If you go up, if there's the band my daughter's in now is a band called Fat Betty. So they and so Fat Betty is up on YouTube, and they've got about 8,000 or 9,000 followers. But they've got like a couple of them have like 500,000 views, but you just realize that it's so hard to get. To turn the corner as a band,
Absolutely.
and they're very talented. So it's hard. A lot of practice. Like I listen to the practice all day, which I love. I love listening to people practice. I love listening to my kids practice, at least.
The Oh Hellos will be in Dallas, Houston, and Austin next.
Yeah. Over this week.
Yeah. Go see them. Where are they based, though? Are they based there? Or?
I think that they're based in Austin, but there was some stuff on, I think, one of their socials, like this might be the farewell tour. I think it's
been around for 10 years.
They've been around for 10 years, and it may just be. So that's why I would say that if I wish I had seen that. I wish they had played San Francisco earlier, and then I would have told everybody at the beginning of the tour, but I didn't know.
There's a video on their website from their Tiny Desk concert, which I wish I'd heard. Maybe I would have gone to see him, but thank you, Alex.
Yep.
Alex Lindsay is at officehours.global. You can get him at 090.media if you want to hire him. What you got? Anything to plug?
We're going to be doing another immersive. So at the OH-Global-Immersive YouTube page, which has been very anemic. I keep on trying to, my day job has gotten completely bonkers. So I've been running around and haven't put as much video up as I'd like. But Sandwich is going to be on tomorrow to talk about that. We talked about the behind the scenes. From last week, we talked about so we're going to talk about that along with just other general immersive discussions. So that'll be tomorrow at 6 on the OH-Global-Immersive.
Excellent. Thank you, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Robles, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Beard.fm. What would you like to plug? Your shortcuts are amazing if you want to plug those.
Yeah, if you go to beard.fm, I have my latest videos linked, but you can also click community. That's my shortcuts community. And I'm doing weekly live streams for paid supporters. I do like shortcuts of the week. I have a custom trained shortcuts GPT that you get access to when you support the community. So yeah, beard.fm, click community, and you can listen to my podcast, primarytech.fm. But Leo, thanks for having me this week. And thanks for all you've done for podcasting for so many years, spearheading it early on and still doing it even to this day. And so, yeah, thanks for all that you have done.
I am unfortunately stubborn. Your ChatGPT shortcuts are very interesting. If people are interested in using AI, this is a very interesting way to incorporate it into your Mac. I highly encourage you to use our bearded tutor at beard.fm. Thank you for the kind words, Stephen. Thank you for carrying the torch, carrying the flame, and keeping it going. We do MacBreak Weekly every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1900 UTC. If you want to watch us live, as I mentioned, we stream it on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and Kick. But you don't, and of course in the Club Twit Discord, but you don't have to watch live because it is a podcast. We make this thing called an RSS feed. Here's your choices. You go to our website, twit.tv/mbw. There's audio and video there. You can watch it in the website if you want, but there's also links to our YouTube channel where you can watch the video. Great way to share little clips with other people if you saw something you wanted to tell other folks about. And there is also a link there to a number of different podcast apps like Pocket Cast and Overcast, and just the raw RSS feed, which you can then add to your podcast app. Subscribing is probably the best way to do it because then you get it automatically. Choose audio or video. Yes, we don't have any magic way of doing a single feed with both, but you get to choose audio or video. You could even download both if you were a glutton for punishment. Thank you for your support, MacBreak Weekly listeners, our Club Twit members, and even those of you who don't watch because you'll never see this, so who cares? We will see you again next time, and as it has always been my sad and solemn duty at the end of every show to tell you, get back to work because break time is over. See you next week. Bye-bye.